Good evening again, and welcome to another edition of MLC Talk. This is the platform we discuss all things Lutheran. We seek you the fast beyond emotions. Today again is Sunday, September 28th, and we want to welcome you again to another edition. Um, Today we are joined by our brother Elijah Zina. He's there in Minneapolis. Elijah Tutu is there in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. Uh, we're hoping our sister couple will join us very shortly, and the Reverend Thomas Z. Paye will also be joining us. In the meantime, we will do some quick check-ins and just making sure that you guys are doing well, receiving our signal, and how well our reception is in your area. We have some great developments from the week, and we will be bringing them to you today. Again, I want to say welcome to another edition of MLC Talk. This is your program, and we are so glad that every Sunday we can gather here to share with you some insights about our church and Lutheran community as a whole. Again, want to say welcome. Elijah, how you there? How is Minneapolis today?
Well, first of all, I want to say Minneapolis is very well. Sunshine, we're still enjoying the sunshine. Somebody saying we're going to pay for it. No, I think we're ready, going to have it some extra because we paid for it before. So our weather going to be bad. We can get some really harsh weather here. You guys know that. But we're still enjoying the sunshine. So we are grateful for that. And we are happy to be on the show. We're looking forward to the conversation today.
Yes, that's awesome. We're still having a hot weather down here. You know, it's always in Georgia. So I attempted wearing long sleeves today with jacket, but I think I kind of regret
Love
it a little
the
bit for
jacket.
wearing that. Yeah, I regret it a little bit. I see Dr. Tudo is still in his suit. Apparently, it's very cool in Pittsburgh. What's going on, Dr. Tutu?
I think he just came from church, not the cold, man.
No, that's so much. Again, we want to greet our viewer out there. This is the last one of the month.
Yeah,
Uh, for a very good productive month to run the show. My earlier, I just returned home from Washington D.C. and Philadelphia for the diaspora for the Liberian Diaspora Conference. I've been here in D.C. on the weekend, and
yeah.
I had to leave early because I didn't want to miss the show here because I know
No,
this.
it's very important.
We had to discuss that issue, so I didn't want to take it as serious. I left early this morning from Philadelphia through DC and then to come back to be here. But we're glad to be back on the show again to our viewer out there who share the show and they'll have a productive discussion. Also, some of the key issues we'll be discussing today concerning the pension and the welfare of the pastor. And then also to we'll talk a little bit briefly about the current local university that have the involvement of the bishop and one of the church member. It was sort of communication that came out recently. So we'll dive into some of the discussion. But the main topic of discussion it will be the, the welfare of the pastors and the pensions in that they have in the church. You know. So we'll be glad to receive the BA to be here today to give an overview of the whole pension system in the Lutheran church. And what are some of the key that I've been taking with it, when it comes to the pastor because it's kind of very important.
Yeah, very important as absolutely. But Dr. Tutu, you came on the show very serious. What happened yesterday in England?
You check the news, come ask me. You scary.
What happened yesterday,
I
Dr.
don't know
Tutu?
what happened in that. You tell me
I,
what happened.
I thought you guys could just refill up there, and I mean, you can. You are
No, I don't
unstoppable.
know. I don't know what happened. You tell me what happened in England.
So Liverpool are massively defeated yesterday.
Yeah,
Yeah,
we saw it. The thing about the whole premiership, you receive one or two defeat. So there's no exception about Liverpool about that. But
But I,
but
eh,
how we are going to make the premiership, the end of it, that's how we're looking at.
yeah,
You know?
absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But it's gonna be a good season for Liverpool this year.
Wonderful. We all hope so. We all hope so. Folks, please share the show. Share the show. Also, to let you know that we have been granted permission to receive stars and everything. So during the podcast, you can hit that button as well. But we encourage you to please share the show. Share the show, please, and invite others. Our brother there in Tanzania, we want to say Karibu. We want to say welcome to the show. And again, Dr. Toto, I mean, you can drive while we assist you in this process again today.
So we're back to the show. Share the show. Share the show. Anyone from the BA from Pastor Paye.
Yeah,
Anyone from here.
yeah,
I
yeah.
know they listen to us. But that's other discussion before the BA. Come on, Elijah. We sort of I'll come back to what they on the side.
Yeah.
Regarding the bishop, we're talking about communication. Just before we go there, first of all, before going, let me just take the time to wish our dear mother, Pastor, Pastor Godo, Sipina Lutheran Church. She celebrated her birthday. Happy birthday to you, Pastor. I want to wish you the best as you lead the children of God, most especially St. Peter Lutheran Parish. On behalf of the network, I want to say happy birthday to you. I wish you all the best for you and your family.
Yeah, Dr. Tudo, I want to join you too as well. Like you said, the entire network, which is Mother Gono. Yeah, happy birthday. And just um, to give credit, if you can see at the top, ITV posted these photos. So we want to give credit to ITV. They are our affiliate news outlet in Liberia. So yeah, happy birthday to Mother Jenny's Gono. I miss her. I haven't seen her in a while yet. Yeah, but we really do miss her. Maybe Elijah want to throw one or two on there.
Oh, well, you guys are coming to me anyway, so I want to say happy birthday to Monogona as well. That's our Oma, every one of
Yeah,
us.
yeah.
Also Reverend Doa. I said Doa too. Today is his birthday as well. The both of them share
Oh
birthdays.
yeah, yeah.
Uh,
You're right.
so
You're right. Yeah.
so I want to also say happy birthday to Reverend Doa. As the both of them are celebrating their birthdays. So we just say all the best. May God continue to bless them as they serve Him.
And that's all your St. Peter people, Elijah.
I mean,
Yeah.
my wife and St. Peter got the same birthdays. I don't know.
So
We are the
see,
successful people, man.
somebody, you see, Elijah. If you see Elijah Redder, he wearing he dark shit. He say for sun, but that's just for the sun. When you ready to blow up, you ready to hit the nerve. That's the time you wear that shit. You say that for a visual problem or whatsoever. But what do we all
Patience
do?
is
you
already
know,
done.
you
We
know.
all
No,
do. We all know the reason behind that dark shit.
that
He
that
want
I
to
told
burn
her,
it.
that I told her, I want to
You
share. I want to
don't.
share. I want to share a little joke.
You
I
don't
want to
want to
share a
burn
little
his
joke.
finger. Oh yeah,
Yep.
joke. Yeah, that a joke
I want.
before.
I want. I want to share a little joke. This guy. I think it was either Mr. Ibu or what the other. One of these famous Nigerian actors. He said you are. He said you are under the roof wearing dark glasses at the middle of the night. He said,
My
"Are you
God,
a legend to criminology?"
my God is already dark. It's just like I'm thinking
Yeah,
the
so I
way
know.
that
So
goes like,
I know.
yeah, it's
I
already
know.
dark.
I know his trick. I know his trick. He wear that. You ever put a look in your face when you want to blow up.
No, my glasses is already dark.
So
It's
let
just the way
me
I'm thinking. That's all.
ask you that, Elijah. We saw a communication from the bishop office because we all while we're talking about the office silent. There's no communication regarding the bishop implication in this Lofa University saga that took place, and the BA, the bishop, not the bishop, the secretary general of the church, communication, people are concerned with discussing last week, and the Executive Council, I think one of the pastors wrote that the Executive Council had not really officially received the information yet, but it was just a group of leaders, the Bishop Corps. But the Bishop office that put up communication. But what you say, do you have copy of that communication that you can put the street?
Yeah, we do.
Okay,
I mean, it's not pretty clear, but we do. This is the communication from Office of the Secretary General.
Yeah, let me just. I think I can. Hold up, small. Me, where about what Yeah, but we not talk about clear, but we not for transparency.
I'm very transparent, guys.
but we not for transparency. You know that. So let me just read why the road there, Elijah. They say Office of the General Secretary, Lutheran Church in Liberia, September 24th, 2025. Press statement for media release. The Lutheran Church in Liberia, LCL, attention has been drawn to a recent indictment of its bishop, the Red Reverend Dr. G. Victor Pamo, by the Liberia Anti-Corruption Commission, LACC, a chairman of the Lofa University Board of Trustees, and several high-ranking officials of the Lofa University, LCU. In the circular issue in Monrovia on Wednesday, September 24th, 2025, the LCL said a bishop could submit himself to the judicial process to vindicate himself of all allegations contained in the LACC indictment. The LCL commit itself to accountability, transparency, and the rule of law, and believe the judicial process of Liberia. The LCL called for special adjudication to allow Bishop Pabo and all accused persons to go through the legal process, and those four could be held accountable. Sir Victor, I can just see the Victor Kiddo, General Secretary, Lutheran Church in Liberia. So, Elijah, this is what the General Secretary wrote.
Well, Dr. Toto, thank you for reading that communication. I read that communication during the week when it came out as well. This is what we have been
Can you take it out?
This is what we have been calling for, information dissemination and the stand of the Lutheran Church in Liberia. And I think the communication from the General Secretary's office as the official communicator of the LCL is very much legit and is on time, for us to get that communication from the General Secretary's office. Because people have been wondering and wanting to know the church's stand as it relates to the ongoing investigation as it relates to the bishop of the LCL. And with that communication coming from the General Secretary of the bishop, clearly stating that the bishop is making himself available for the judiciary process to take place. And anybody held culpable, if the bishop is indicted, he will face the full weight of the law. So the bishop is not shying away from the process. The LCL is letting the public know that their bishop is availing himself to the process to go on, and they are calling for a speedy trial. And I like that part in the communication that calls for a speedy process, because the more you delay, the more doubts it creates on the minds of people. So calling on the judiciary branch or the court to speed up this process in order to clear the name of people who are associated with this syndicate, I think is very much important, because the more you keep people in that area, the more question it raises and the more doubt it creates in the mind of people. So I think this communication coming from the office of the General Secretary is very important. And I think our network also got to be given the credit for it, because we've been calling for this since the inception of this situation. We said the LCL should be communicating. The office of the General Secretary has been very dormant and quiet. So after our live show, to see this coming out, I think they are listening, and I commend them for that.
Good, that's a plus. So with it,
yeah.
So the communication is out there. What next?
Yeah. No, before we go to what next, Dr. Tutu, I also want to join, Elijah we want to commend the church through the office of the general secretary. But I would say the fact from me, I have a different opinion towards this. Why it is true that we commend the church, the office of the through the office of the general secretary, this communication is belated. Okay, if you look, this document was released on September 24th. I'm sorry, on the 24th. Okay, the special meeting. All right, I will just read the office of the BA. The office of the BA sent an appreciation communicate a communication of appreciation to members and church leaders who took their time upon their busy schedule to be in this meeting on a Monday. Okay, because the meeting was called on the 20. No, so the meeting was called on the 8th. It was held on the 8th, and decisions were made. The office of the Secretary General was also asked to send this very communication that we had to come on, on live, and kept sending out the message and sending out the message and sending out the message. I want to say our church listening, but the listening and acting, two different things. Okay, listening and acting, two different things. Okay, so again, why I appreciate the church. I appreciate the Secretary General for finally listening to the cry of the people, because it is not us. It's not about Willie. It's not about Elijah. It's not about Dr. Todo. It's not about Kopo. It's not about any one of us, including Abel and Josiah and Ambassador. Okay, it's about the concerns of our church. Remember last Sunday, one of the pastors wrote and said, "Oh, we have to go and facing our members. We have to go and facing our members. And members are concerned. So if we keep delaying, delay tactic doesn't work. I mean, it is true.
So,
we actually commend the office of the Secretary General, but it's belated. Yeah. In my opinion, it's belated.
Okay, that's belated. I feel the same way too. It may be delayed. We talk about it up to now. I mean,
better late than never.
Yeah. The way before get our actual topic, we just want to spend about 15 minutes on your gap or 2 more minutes before get our actual topic. I just want to ask a question. You guys will get opinion on it. I can make it first. One of the pastors wrote the last on the platform that as far as the executive council is concerned, they have not received any information. Who are the executive council? Don't you think it could have been good for the bishop core group of leaders, to address the situation, but not the executive council? The executive council, by default, they are the bosses of the bishop, right? So, don't you think that session communication or official communication could have been sent to the executive council to give the bishops air, or just do a popular word that they did? What your take on it?
Well, I think in the same communication, the General Secretary mentioned that September 24th, there was a circular letter that went out concerning, maybe I didn't read it well, but he said there was a circular letter that went out concerning this.
Yeah, letter. Was it executive council?
So the bishop called an executive, an emergency meeting. Mm-hmm. And there's an emergency meeting comprises of both members of the executive council and leaders of the church. The point is, I'm coming to the point. If it was the executive council that wrote the communication, is that what you asked me?
Yeah, I said, was it the executive council officially informed as an institution, as a body? Do you think such a letter could have been written to the executive council to address the issue? That's the question.
That question would be very much important for Pastor Paye to answer for us, given the fact that I'm not in the leadership of the LCL. But in my opinion, when the emergency meeting was called, we were informed that the bishop was calling an executive council emergency meeting. And then later, that emergency meeting became a cross-section of leaders of the church.
Yeah, so that's what was informed first.
Yeah. So members of the executive council were in that meeting. So if the executive council of the LCO, if they are not aware of the situation, then that will be another issue. But in my opinion, I think the executive council is aware of the situation based on the fact that the general secretary, who is the official communicator of the LCL, posted that they were having this emergency general council meeting, and they invited other leaders of the church, including the legal practitioner of the LCL. They were all in that meeting. So I think the LCL is aware, but we can confirm that when the current BA of the LCL appear on the show today, we can confirm that what the executive council of the LCL stand as it relates to the current indictment of the bishop. But with this current communication coming from the office of the general secretary, we can kind of understand from this communication that the LCL is in the know. And if the LCL is in the know, it means that the leaders of the LCL that represent the executive council, because the executive council, they're not ordinary people. The bishop is part of the executive council, the general secretary, the
That's
treasurer,
sure. Yeah, sure.
heads of
But
institutions.
it is a body. It's an
All
institution.
right, deans, district deans, and everything, they are all part of that executive
Yeah.
council. So, if in any way the LCA is not executive council is not aware of this, I doubt it. But I think there has been communication to the executive council officially
So what
outside
is?
that emergency meeting.
Let me get back to you on the same question. What is? What is?
Yeah. Yes.
So the same question.
Sorry if
What
you.
you
Yeah, go
think?
ahead. Mhm.
You think the executive council should have been rated? Who had the executive council? The bishop had the executive council,
Uh,
right?
yeah,
And have
Bishop
a
here's
system.
the executive council, but
It is a body. But don't you think
right.
the same question I asked Elijah? Don't you think that official meeting or a letter should be addressed to the executive council, those the pastors, I think they're called a general meeting, all the leaders to address the issue? What?
Yeah. For me, when I speak, I like to try to gather some um I would say fight towards this, right?
Yeah.
Um, we have the communication here. This communication actually came from again, I'm not an insider. We have our brother who is the insider of us, right?
Okay,
The insider Elijah, right? So on Elijah can clarify what the communication protocol is like inviting executive council. Okay. I have the communication here. I want to share it. Okay.
Yeah,
I want to
share
share
what I would say.
this communication came from it came from the office of the it came from the office can you all see my screen?
No, that,
All right.
yeah, right now.
Okay. This came from the office of the BA, the Bishop Assistant. Okay, Reverend Paye. This communication came from the office of the BA. Okay, and it was not, in my opinion, it was not a formal circular letter. This was sent out through text messages or you know Facebook message, because it was something that again based on our persistent coverage of this issue. That's how in conversation in the Malutrin Connection chat room, I believe that's what prompted this. Okay, and I stand to be corrected. So this invitation was sent out. Now, if you read the invitation, it says by directive of the Right Reverend Dr. G. Victor Patmo, Bishop of the Lutheran Church in Liberia, you are hereby invited to an emergency council meeting. Now, this is where again I say,
can you just read the entire communication for us?
Okay.
Yeah.
Invite executive council meeting. Date and time, Monday, September 8th at 4:00 p.m. Venue, LCL Conference Room, LCL Compound. Those invited include all executive council members currently in or near Monrovia. Elders of the LCL, chairpersons of parish councils, pastors, heads of projects and institutions, national national LCL auxiliaries, legal members, board of the LCL, all concerned members. Okay. Now it says that the purpose of the meeting in this light, in light of the recent, indictment issued by the Liberia Anti-Corruption against the leadership of the Lufa County University, where Bishop Patmos serves as chairperson of the board, his name has been mentioned in this matter. The development of this gave concern not only to the Bishop Patmos personally, but to the entire LCL family. As discussions continue across various quarters, Bishop Patmos, as your chief shepherd, has condemned it. I'm very sorry. I deem it. The phones are very small. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Has deemed it necessary to meet with you directly. He wishes your presence. He wishes to present his side of the story and provide an opportunity for your questions and reflections. You are hereby, therefore, you sorry. I'll read from here. You are therefore earnestly requested to attend and to help share this information with others. Let us gather as a family of faith to hear, discern, and seek clarity together. With prayerful regards, Reverend Thomas E. Paye, Bishop Assistant, Lutheran Church in Liberia.
Okay, so
now, this is the communication from the office of the BA that was sent out. Again, I am not aware of the formalities, how communication is sent out, but if you read this document, again, also, I think because of the urgent nature, it says that those who are in Monrovia surrounding should come on the compound. I don't know if the communication comes from the office of the secretary or it comes from the office of the BA, but the BA, being that he's the assistant to the bishop, he was mandated to send this communication out by the bishop. Now, let me just conclude on this. The communication was sent out, people appeared, and a meeting was held, and the office of the Secretary General was asked to send this very communication that came out on the 24th. That communication should have come up on the 8th or 9th after the meeting, because the same Reverend Paye, Reverend Paye should be the Secretary General of this church. Because Reverend Paye, right after the meeting, Reverend Paye sent out communication thanking people. Okay, but we waited until the 24th. I mean, I don't know how the communication strategy is going on, but we waited until the 24th, weeks later, before sending out this belated communication. And I don't think it's in the interest of the church, to be honest. That's my opinion. It's not an opinion of MLC.
So we just want to make sure that we follow, we do what is right, following it, understand the legal process, but in terms of good practice, that's what we want to follow. But if you look at it here in the letter, I think the Executive Council were officially invited that meeting, or even though not Executive Council meeting, but they were invited.
I don't know how it's sent out again. I don't know how communication. Elijah is here. He's our insider.
The pastors, to the Executive Council member have a privilege. They want to put it in the chat room concerning the communication, whether they be officially informed of the bishop in Dagbe. Then they come talk about it, and we'll give it the audience to speak if they want to call in. But you give our view out there, share the show, the number of people that you want to call. This is a very important issue we'll be discussing when it comes to the pension of the pastors, and also to the welfare of our pastors. We have some pastors who are also sick. Some of the pastors are very sick. People are saved the church. What is the LCL doing in terms of those pastors that are going through some health issue? What are they doing? What are the plans that they have in place to take care of their pastors? Even those that even ill, those that even have to send their children to school, they have to take care of their family. How is the LCL really taking care of them? Like we said, Elijah, who have some experience being the son of a pastor, who went through that same structuring process in the Lutheran Church in Liberia. And that's why it was so important. And the BA told us that he'll be our special guest. And he promised that he'll come on the show to have a discussion. We hope that he come on the show to have a discussion, because it's very, very important to discuss the welfare of the pastor, especially that patient. But Like while we're still waiting for the bishop assistant, Reverend Paye, let's get into the discussion. Let me start our insider first. Elijah. When it comes to the welfare, when it comes to the welfare of the pastors in the church or the pastor, can you give us an overview of how the process works? You meet them, Elijah, or meet yourself.
I was sounding good though. Over the week, during the week, I was trying to gather some information as it relates to the pension documentation, but I was not successful because my soul was kind of busy with other stuff, so they could not get the information to me as soon as possible. But I think one of the things that is within the LCL's pension documentation that is struggling is the way in which the metrics for which they use to pay our pensions to LCL pastors who are retired. Uh, so the document reflects that the payment is based on $250 USD salary. So if you are a LCL pastor when you're retiring, your payment, which is 50/40, the parish at which you are assigned pays 40% of your pension, and then the LCL pays 50% of that. And that payment is against $250 US. So this is very ambiguous because you have pastors within the LCL that are making 1,500 liberty. Some are making 2,500 liberty. But yet and still, you are asking them to pay a 40% of $250 salary that they are not making. So that's the ambiguity within the whole policy. So when you are resigning or you're about to retire, you have to make sure you pay up to meet the standard of the $250. If you don't meet that $250 standard, it means that you're not going to be receiving pension from the LCO. You see, so for me, that's the major problem with the whole pension thing. You set a metric within the system where you don't have a standardized salary system for all of your pastors, but you set the metrics against $250 to pay people across the board. So once a person who is in the position, let's say for instance, maybe the pastor has signed to St. Peter, is making $250. So St. Peter is able to pay the 40% for that pastor, right? St. Matthew, they're able to pay the 40% for that pastor. Maybe the pastors in those parishes they're making maybe more than $250, 250 at least. They can make it up. Okay, let's talk about the man in Bel. How much is that man making? His salary is not even $250, $2,500 limited. How can he meet up with the 40% of $250 threshold that you set for people retiring? So that makes it very difficult for most of the pastors, even deacons and evangelists. They don't have
So,
pension because
so,
they
so,
don't, they're
so
not able
Elijah,
to.
Elijah,
Yeah.
they have a conversation before getting with it. So you talk about the bigger churches
Mhm,
where they have the population, to make
mhm,
to do the contribution, the 40 or 60%.
mhm,
But
mhm.
what about other parishes that in the remote area, in the local area, and you send the pastors to those places? Those are people that have the qualification, the right credential to be pastor. So you send those pastor to the rural places. Is the LCR expecting those pastor to live or they expect the rural people? Why do they have a central office?
Now let me come to that.
Right?
And that's what I just said. If a pastor is assigned in Bel for instance, all right, his salary is not $250 per month, and then you set the threshold on 60/40 against $250 salary. Okay, he's assigned in Bel He making maybe 2,500 liberty. He cannot meet up that 60%. Even he bumped his salary, it's not coming true. Now, peace be unto his archer, the late Bishop Harris. Bishop Harris was thinking further, and he wanted to mitigate this thing and he wanted to make the LCL pension very aggressive and wanted to make it very progressive as he was thinking. So what the LCL did was they went and borrowed money from the LCL pension fund. I was on the executive council at that time. The LCL pension fund is in Chicago at the churchwide office. So if you guys know anybody there, just ask about the LCL pension fund. There where they have the account for all
Yeah,
the
we do that.
LCL
I'll come in there. I have a
good.
question for Bishop.
So they borrowed $250,000 US. $250,000 was borrowed from the LCL pension fund by Bishop Harris, and that money was invested into the Tower Hill project we have today. And the intent for the Tower Hill project to make the LCL pension fund to become a revolving fund so that money generated from the Tower Hill project will go back into the pension fund. But as of
But I
today,
was
I'm not
done.
ready.
That's the
Listen,
question I have for the
as
BA.
of today, I'm waiting for the BA to come on the show so we can ask him because he served once upon a time. He was the pension manager of the LCL. So we want to know what has been happening or what is happening to the funds generated from Tower Hill. Is it going back into the LCL pension account in Chicago, or what is the LCL doing with that money? Because as we as we've heard in the corridor, the LCL pension is being depleted because they're taking money and they're not putting money back. But the LCL, the Tower Hill project, is being rented. They're getting money from there. What is happening to that money that's supposed to go back into the pension fund? So that's the big question that we expect the BA when he appears on the show today, because he was once a pension administrator, so he should have some grip on that or some answers to that question.
Thank you, Elijah, for that. We hope the BA can come. And even some of the pastors, if you want to show you listen to the podcast, or to the broadcast, you have questions, you have some information to share about the pension, how it works. You can put the information in the chat, or you can call the show to share some experience, or also to call when you relate to the pension. With it,
Yes.
I don't know how you feel, but it's very troubling.
Yeah.
The welfare of the pastors, and come to the pension money that's surrounding. How would that a question land up for the BA? But the BA not yet there.
Yeah. When it,
To be frank, what you do about it? About the whole
yeah. I also did not have the opportunity to lay my hands on the document, but it is troubling, and I'm saying this from the information provided by the BA from last episode that um, I think the pastors have to pay 40%, and um, the church has to pay, the congregation or the parish has to pay 60%. Now, my
No, no,
confusion
quarter
is,
the parish
yeah,
pays 50%, LCF pays 50%. So that's the 60-40 here.
yeah, but the pastor contributes, right?
No, that's the pastor contribution is paid by where he's assigned. So whatever parish he's assigned to become his employer, and they pay the 40% of his pension to the LCF, and the LCF pays the 60%. And
Okay.
gives the treasurer of the $250
we know that.
So it is a little bit, it's a little bit confusing to me. Again, I want the bishop, the bishop assistant to come on, because from what he informed us last Sunday, and I went over that part, it's like he even told us that Bannerville could not, for 6 months, could not pay his 60%. And the 40%,
40%.
how much? Yeah, 40%. How much is he making? No, he said 60% though. And the 40% is like some is coming from the pastors as well, apart from what the congregation is contributing. Again,
let me get it correct. So the pastors made 250. That should be 250 per man, right?
No, not all the pastors. Yeah, go ahead.
Now all the pastors they're using
Okay, go ahead. Yeah.
On the bare match. 250 per month. What the like 250 is what the 250 going in the pocket of the pastor, or when it comes to the pension, they're taking some money out of that money for the pension.
40% of that money
40%
they take it from the 250 and pay it to LCL.
to the LCL.
And,
And the LCL do the 60% also to the patient. Okay.
and this conversation will have also helped if hopefully a couple will come on the show today tonight, because she directly participated when it comes to this whole pension issue from Barnesville. She was the financial officer at Barnesville Parish. She's going to throw a little light while we wait for the BA. Now, I'm also confused in the sense that, are they only looking for $250? If that's the case, pastors in Monrovia are making more than $250 in Monrovia. Okay, not all of the pastors, but pastors in Monrovia are making more than $250. I would say the mother parish, St. Peter's, and I also want to say St. Matthew. A month, the pastor in St. Matthew making more than $250. Okay, now
The BJ is watching.
yeah, the BJ is here. Okay, so if $250 is just the money, that's that I mean, then we understand that. But again, remember, in some of our parishes, like there's a pastor, I think it's Pastor Wiki or one of the other pastors, I'm just forgetting the name. When he was sent to that parish in Bellefinet, what he did was, he's very innovative, and I think his model, a lot of the other pastors praise him for the model that he took to that parish.
That was very Evan Flomo in Sanoye.
In Sanoye, Reverend Edwin Flomo. He encouraged the parish to get to invest into agriculture, and they started, producing a lot of crops, and that could help the parish as well. Now, if that parish monthly collection is below $5 US, when do you expect them to pay, other church staff members and pay the $250? And I mean, so we need clarification on this. And the best person to help us also, I'm coming to this we need clarification on it, and one of the best person to help us would be the BA, and also those who have participated directly. And some of our pastors, if they can just come on and share with us, come to our inbox and share with us. We're not going to share your names, but we just want to share the information and understand how the entire pension process is going. Like, but to be honest, I just want to conclude. Because it's two things we are looking at here. The main focus we are looking at is our pastors' welfare. Our pastors' welfare.
Yeah, we'll cut the welfare aspect later on.
So soon the pension, okay, if that's the pension, then that's fine. Yeah.
So let me just say this: the way, like I said earlier on, there's so much ambiguity within the LCL's pension documentation, and because you don't have a standardized payment of the LCL, you cannot set the threshold of payment against $250 when you have other pastors and deacons and deaconesses working in rural parishes that are making barely 2,500 liberty.
I say 1,500 liberty.
Yeah,
okay. That makes it hard for these people to even retire. According that we have pastors within the LCL that are afraid to retire now or are struggling to retire now because they have not met the threshold to pay their 40% of the LCL pension fund. So if you retire without meeting that threshold, then you get nothing. All right?
You got to be here.
Like I said on the last show, God put us in a position that we were able to help our dad, to reach that threshold. A man who served the LCL from his childhood up to the time he passed away. He was pastor of the LCL. But he was making the bare minimum. And they pay the money after every 3 months to you. You get $250 or $450 depending on the threshold they have there, the calculation they have there, right? So if you are not in the position to have other income coming from somewhere to help your family member who have served in the LCL, that person will be dying soon, okay? Because the LCL pension money is not something that somebody can live on after retirement.
And can you just give me just 30 seconds, please? 30 seconds. And what I see also troubling here is that our pastors who have served this church for years and years and years and years, right? Like Elijah is saying, if they cannot meet that threshold, If they retire, they get nothing. Now, come to find out, some of our past church administrators who spend maybe less than 10 years serving the church or less than 5 years serving the church, mind you, they retire and got their retirement, their pension benefit from the church.
Yeah,
They
because
retire and got their pension benefit. And some of our pastors, again, they are also directors of programs. So I mean, there's no level playing field somewhere, and there's no level playing field, and this needs to be clear out. And I hope that those in the pension area should actually come on the show to help us. Yeah, go ahead. Go ahead.
You got me talking. Let me change location.
Yeah, go ahead. Yeah, go ahead. So thank you. Yeah, Dr. Thank you. So Elijah, as we were saying, right? We need this clarification. Okay, we need clarification on.
I hope Brother Paye can get on the show because besides the pension, right? When we're talking about the welfare of
our pastors,
all right? There is no medical benefit for pastors within the LCL. Even a Lutheran pastor, if he went to Phoebe Hospital, he'll be required to pay his bills. All right? He'll be required to pay his bill at Phoebe Hospital. He'll be treated like ordinary patient at that hospital, right? So the LCL needs to come out with a very robust salary system that is standardized across the board. Also come up with a welfare program for pastors. Right. I hope the man who is the chairperson for the Pastoral Fellowship, I don't know, one of the things that I struggle with one of the things that I struggle with is the whole Pastoral Fellowship of the LCL. I don't know the specific function. I don't know how the Reddit functions since my dad was alive up to the time he passed. I don't know how that body functions. The only time you say, oh, the Pastoral Fellowship is it. But what are the parts of the argument that you guys are putting together for your own welfare? What are those lines that you are pushing to the LCL for your own welfare? You have pastor children being put out of school. I am a testimony of that. I was put out of school on many occasions in St. Peter's. All right, when I went to school, I was thrown out of classes because my dad did not pay my tuition on time. I was not considered to be, oh, he's a pastor, so we can stay home. They put me out of class because my dad did not pay my tuition on time. So what are the benefits of pastors in the LCL? Like I say, I'm a pastor, I'm assigned to this parish, or I'm a member of the Lutheran Church in Liberia, and I have this welfare. What is that welfare for our pastors? We have pastors who were sick. We have to fly them out of Liberia, send them to Ghana. Some of them did not come back. They have to die in the process. The LCL were not in the position to even provide transportation for the person to be flown out of the country. So this is serious. I come in
Slow down. Don't slow down, Elijah.
No, I'm slowing down, but I just want to tell you that this situation is very, very much. It is a situation of concern, and it needs to be addressed. And I think the way is the authority or the pressure should be upon the pastoral fellowship to come up with what they need. All right. If you see teachers going on go slow in government school, the nurses going on go slow in government institutions.
All fast.
Elijah, hold on, Elijah.
Because we are in the church, because we say the church is the church, we have to serve. People are serving, making sacrifices with no benefit. That's not fair.
I'll get back to you. Tom, I know you wear that dark shades. You can start exploring all of that shit. You know, I mean, I want to say the passion you really, your voice, because even the BA on the show here last week, the BA said that I'm also worried.
Yeah, he said that. He said, yeah.
I'm also worried if I retire. You know, I'm not going to get anything.
Yeah.
You know, so we have to face it right now. We can get it faced there. I don't know how so many people, you know. Like, for example, while waiting for that, just jump into the welfare of the pastor, you know, like Elijah. We're talking about other pastors. We help other pastors, you know, they're no longer around me, they are so rest in peace. But we have other pastors, you talk about the welfare. What is the welfare looking at? how they reach out to pastor. We have our dear mother, Sister Lydia Madawu, whereby the first female pastor of the Lutheran Church in Liberia, at that time they called the vicar, the first female pastor, she been sick for some time now. I don't know what are they doing, in terms of welfare. I can remember some time ago when she was in Ghana, going through some medical procedure in Ghana, Aliyah have to come in to provide one or two assistance. We have Brother Reverend Anthony Newman, also to be sick. We have Reverend Peter Bakara, the former dean of the Bishari. Those are pastors that serve the church. How is the welfare system looking at to reach the need of those people that are served? That all they had to contribute to the church. But what is the church doing to care for them? They have family, they are taking their family. And some of them married. If they didn't have, that's for example, Pastor Lydia, she married. In case you're not married, the husband, not in the position to help. How can I become a her? Have for help. True. Yeah. So how can you with it? So you see, these are the situation that I want to discuss kind of the welfare of the pastor. Yeah. Because Reverend Doe, on the same podcast, on the podcast last week, he said that the pastor and I've been really looking care in the church. He said that's very important. And then Dean Jada also came on the show. He said it's a very hard topic you got to discuss it. I admire it. So it's like the pastors are aware of the situation they're facing, but somebody afraid to talk.
That's what I'm saying. The pastoral fellowship needs to come up with a position statement as it relates to their welfare.
Somebody afraid to talk that if I talk, I'll be silent or I'll be disciplined. So it's like nobody they want to come out. They're going through the situation. They have to come out to speak for that issue, for that concern to be addressed. But let me hear you.
So I want to respond. I want to give my response with this comment. There's a saying that goes, you don't ask, you don't get. Okay, if you don't ask, you don't get. So the pastoral fellowship, perhaps the only time you see the pastoral fellowship in action is when maybe election time is coming around. That's when you see the pastoral fellowship. So we have pastoral fellowship.
When somebody dies.
Okay, maybe when somebody died, then we say, okay, right,
and they all put everybody together and come and identify with the family.
Right, pastoral fellowship is there. No, that's not when you need to advocate. This should be, or this is an advocacy group for pastors. Okay, now if you look at the pastoral fellowship, okay, in terms of their composition, are they actually, how are they seeking the welfare of those other pastors down in like the southeast and looking at those in the northwestern part of Liberia and like the entire region of Liberia? How are they really thinking or seeking the welfare of these people? That's one. And then two, like you mentioned that I told you that somebody wants to speak but they're afraid. I like the bravery of Reverend Doe. You can speak the truth and be polite about it. I like how he spoke the last time, and he was truth about it. You have to speak truth to power. Okay, you have to come up and say what is happening. If the person who wears the shoe knows how it fits them, if it's burning them or not, that person who wears the shoe will speak to that. Now, it is saddening that pastors' kids will be in school, and I'm sorry that Elijah had to live through that. The pastor kids will be in school and pastors will go to hospital and treat them like ordinary people. So why are they pastors? So if you can recall, the bishop came on the show on one of his on one of the episodes of Conversation with the Bishop. He came and said, okay, we need people to join the pastoral team. We need people to come and join, and we don't have pastors. Bishop, I will say this, and not only to you directly, but to LCL. The falling of the dry leaves is a clear signal to the ones that are thinking on even sprouting out on the stem.
Yeah,
okay, because they know how their friends are being treated. So if you're gonna go in there, if you need to think about it twice, and then think about your family as well.
Yeah, and then
Okay,
also
right.
Ready?
I will conclude on this, right? No, I will conclude on this, right?
Yeah, 30
So,
seconds.
take for example, I went before, or even currently, in a medical environment. Okay, your family, even vaccine, sometimes flu vaccine, also you don't pay for it because it's covered. That's a benefit. For working in such an environment. All right, and so many other things. Maybe sometimes like health benefit, you might get up to 60% health benefit, or even 40% health benefit. The rest you pay yourself out of pocket. And to what Elijah is saying, I will tell you this. One time, Reverend Gono, we want to sympathize with him, because when he died, passed away behind Cottington area. On our way back, our car, we had accident, and we were taking to Phoebe. Apparently, this time around, I was saying, for me, I won't lie on Phoebe administration at that time. When we got there, they said, "Oh, these people are from the church, and they had accident. We will receive an expedited service." And I think that's how it should be for Lutheran pastors and their family members. That's how it should be. They should be treated. I'm not saying that the orders are not important, but it should also be given a priority as well. Right, because you serve in this institution.
Yeah.
Unlike some people who would just spend less than 5 years and they say, "Oh, the reach retirement age," and you take a package and take a pension package and give it to them for retirement.
Okay, whatever. We'll get back to
it. It was shocking to know.
Yeah, 1 million, Elijah. Yeah.
It was shocking to know that when my dad passed away, the pension benefit or the pension package or death benefit the LCL gave her was $250.
For how many years? How many years?
Oh no, he served long time.
No. Leave it. I just want to know. You say how many years?
I'm not gonna go into that. I'm just telling you.
Over 30 years, he served the church. Right? This man baptized me.
$250.
Talk about that, yeah.
Now his widow, my father's wife, the widow, is living in Monrovia, amputated. They asked the current leadership how many times they visited that lady.
Wait, Elijah, hold on 1 second. There were my next question was coming in. So that job, I want to talk about visitation. Some of the pastors that are sick.
And pastoral fellowship.
Yeah, when the central office have put a visitation team to visit some of the pastors. Let me talk about Sis Lydia, who I know personally, a big sister and a mother from my hometown, Totuta. We are proud.
No, but sorry to cut you off. Let's do this in general, because there are a lot of people.
Yeah, I know that.
The wife of the Rintanu Kesali. Rintanu Kesali, who stood tall in Kakata for LCL. The wife of the late, the Reverend Paye Freeman. The Reverend Freeman. Yeah. Yeah.
If you eat a rubber, I put you in the bag.
Sorry.
I'm just using the as a case early because somebody that I know, the Totuta parish in John, the other parish, and I to produce a female pastor. That's very huge.
I mean, that's true, but
that's very, very huge.
Feasible other people pastor.
Yeah, other people have these things, but I'm just looking at the overall view in terms of visitation. Look at Elijah. Look how he has shared another breaking news again. Somebody, the widow of a pastor that served the church, no visitation. They talk about the other pastors that have no visitation. Now I want to find out when every year that and I just accused the administration or Bishop Palmer administration.
No, not only Bishop Palmer administration, even the previous administration.
So that's what I meant.
Taratoro, sorry to interrupt. We have a caller.
So again, you take the call, then we'll come back.
Okay. Yeah, go ahead.
Can you all hear me?
Yeah, you.
Yeah, we can hear you. Go ahead. Now we can hear you.
All right. This is Goya. Hey, Elijah, my brother Dr. Toto, and my own Koso. How you doing?
Doing good.
Doing good.
I wanted to touch on a few topics I touch on with the LACC piece and the pastoral care. I will borrow having research terminology. I think Dr. Toto is trying to be an apologist. an LCL apologist.
No, not
and
apology.
when I say multi-bank, because he's a very educated man, but a tabula rasa at this point for trying to veer the topic of he doesn't want the people in the pastors to get burned. I appreciate my brother Elijah, because Elijah, your pain goes so deep, and I knew your dad, like I said the last time on the show.
Yep.
Your dad touched so many of us, and we know we're not ignorant of what happened to him and what happened to pastors like him. Look, first thing on the LACC issue, even in trying to explain his side, the bishop is not transparent. The bishop got something to say, write it out, and make it available publicly. But you can't say to those who are around Monrovia and able to come and listen to your side of the story. Even in your side of the story, we can indict you again for not being transparent. What kind of problem is that? Don't hear Pepe, my mother. Me too, my own say Pepe. Anybody want to get problem, they come for me. And me too, my own Pepe. The good thing about salvation, we all answer for ourselves. When people in government are accused of being corrupt and indicted, the church and the Liberian Council of, should I say, churches or convents will have no problem in coming out to say to the Liberian people on their pulpit how things are going wrong. But when it is the church, when it is the shepherds that have been caught stealing the sheep, now we have a problem to wait for a legal process to happen. I think that is just abhorrent. And look, on the issue of how we with you, our pastors, no wonder why the church is not growing. No wonder since we left from the mission stage where we've been asking, like, Kasara Livo, they were begging boy in the US, we haven't been able to sustain ourselves. Because how do you talk to somebody who is in Salaye, who is in Zolo, as your pastor, when you give them peanuts, for instance, somebody in Monrovia, everyone's going to be want to come to Monrovia. And if I see somebody struggling in Lofa County as a pastor, why would I want to be a pastor in Lofa County? And to Elijah's point, that the children of these people, I saw pastors' children put out of schools, out of Lutheran school. I went to Phoebe Community School for 1 year. I saw that happen in Phoebe. Right? What is the respect, what is the dignity in labor for these pastors and their children? I get it. There are costs associated with people going to the hospital. There are costs associated with the children going to the Lutheran school. But by God, if you know you are not giving them their value, you can't pay a pastor their worth, but you can at least compensate them.
Yep,
and if you know you're not compensating these people on time, why don't you make an exception? Why would you put a pastor child out of a Lutheran school?
Yeah.
Where is the dignity in labor in that? For me, that bothers me. And to a bigger thing for me, I like to look at it more broadly. If we're not doing that for our pastors, we're not doing it for the other lay people that work for the church. We're not doing it for even the people who come and give their widows' mite in tithes and offering to the church. And this is one of the reasons why I refuse to give money to LTI. Because when I was in Zolo, in Lufa, and a lot of Liberians were struggling to go to school, LTI was catering to the rich and the powerful, not to the poor people in the church, in the Lutheran church. And so now when they go bankrupt and there's also grass in the play,
I love that. That's enough.
You're giving access to. This is just wrong for so many levels. And I know people will get that their business. I've been pressing Rumble Phillips in 1899 get done.
Thank you,
Mr. Korea.
Thank you for participating always on the show.
Thank you for the support. Thank you for the call. But actually, that's that fair statement here.
No, that's a fair statement. That's a fair statement.
If you were around, maybe you probably would were kid that also or larger. If you got around that those who were LTI already flourishing, LTI were LTI. It was not just for ordinary pastor would just say that children to LTI.
Yeah.
But those it was a school for the elite.
Yeah.
You know, LTI those there. And so the point is, I mean, I gotta agree with you. You know, but looking at how the pastor, the church administrator part will come back to that another time, you know, also. But we're talking about people that shepherding the sheep, the word of God.
Yeah.
People that wake up every Sunday morning, people that run the day to the activity of the church. The people that inspire in order to be a good citizen. through the word of God.
Yeah.
And to look at their condition where they are today, and the church is not making any significant effort or progress to meet the needs of the people, especially the widows of the pastors, their children. Even those that are around that have some illness going through some sickness. I don't know when our visitation team was set up. They say, okay, we'll take it a tour to visit all our pastors, those that are sick or to have, or to even have some that retreat. That got fellowship retreat and bring all the old pastors together. Only time we hear when maybe when the annual convention coming up, or maybe they have the what they call there's one the founder days.
Founders Day, yeah, Founders Day.
Founder days, I think there. Why can't we have a special day to celebrate our pastors?
They have Pastor Appreciation Day, but that is again, it's done in the we should have a day, day to celebrate pastors.
Is it done across? So there are so many issues I think there, guys. That's why
I want to speak on that pastor celebration as well, and I think it's very significant that. I mean, though we have Pastors Appreciation Day, it is left at the parish level. Okay, parishes will gather together, and say, oh, we appreciate our pastor and everything. But from the LCL, do we have these events like call all of our pastors at a gathering, like a banquet?
That's the point we're talking about. We
focus
on your central office
from the central command. I don't even want to use central office from the central command.
They have to set.
Exactly
set the example,
right?
For other, to follow,
right? So to have an event like an annual event, even if you want to do it biannual, that's fine. But to have this event, invite people, make these people feel proud that the work, the service they are doing in the Lord's vineyard is going unnoticed. God is going to bless them, but also on the here on earth, we should also appreciate them. Give a man his flower, call them upon. Say, look, Elijah, what's the name of the pastor again? In Sanoye?
Oh, Reverend Edwin Flomo.
The Reverend Edwin Flomo, right? So, okay, we want to appreciate Edwin Flomo for his innovation, for his innovative idea. He went in this place and he transformed this place. Or we want to recognize our pastor for the number of years they serve in the church. Pastor Eric Allison, he served 25 years in the church. We want to do this, we want to do that. Recognize our pastor so they feel important. Invite them along with their families.
Yeah.
And invite your family members. Say, come each pastor with 2 or 3 family members, so they know that the service the sacrifices they are making in the church, they know that it is going unnoticed. But you just grab a man, you send him all the way back on Jide, or you just grab a man and send him up like the pastor now you have on Feasible. She now pastor for Feasible and pastor for Zozo. Okay. Then you got her running up and down on motorbike. Young woman, you got her running down up and down on motorbike. She don't even got Tony type of own family at the end of the day. The point I even appreciate how her children going to school. Said she got to probably go take other jobs on the side to make sure that her children are going to school also.
How do we motivate people to go to ministry?
How do we motivate people to go to seminary?
That's what is going on. So is that let me pick on Elijah much more. Is that the reason? Because when they said that that's the reason why those support they going to other jobs. Is that the reason why the bishop accept that?
I would want to believe so.
Job also too, because there are those pension, those welfare support for the LCL, so you had to take other job. That's what the reason, Elijah.
That's a.
Whoever you give me Elijah Bruno too, my man, I'm taking you.
Well, that's a good assumption to make, but I don't think that was the rationale behind the bishop's decision to accept the president's nomination. Sometimes they say it's very hard to say no to all people, especially the leader of the country when he calls upon you and say, "Can't do this," and then you tell him, "No, I can't do it." So I think our bishop put himself in a very critical position when the president of the Republic of Liberia called him and said, "I want you to go to this place and represent me." That's a level of confidence. That was a level of confidence imposed in him by the visitor to the university. So I think there were a lot of factors that.
I don't think that was the bishop. We have other pastors that took job or at the BBC BBC is your part of BBC working the previous government or the human rights.
Even the Reverend Pani also working the previous government.
They all work.
We have
Not
looking,
immediate
we
past
have looking
government, but he working the
pastors.
early
Yeah.
government.
You know, they work.
No,
they
Bishop
work.
is not the first one. Bishop is not the first one working in government. Reverend Kwani served in government in a key position as a representative, partially in development superintendent for Grand Coup. One point in time, where BBC worked for Good Governance Commission or something like that. He worked for them, and then before Reverend Labadie got this role, he also served as assistant minister for defense
Yeah.
in the government of LCL. So we got a couple of Lutheran pastors that are serving in various government positions, but because they are not at the top there, or because their name did not come out for indictment, that does not make it like right or wrong to do. So that's what I'm saying. That our bishop found himself in a very peculiar position where he could not easily say no to the president, because at the time we are developing the embryonic university as well, and our current president of the university has a close tie with the president. And then with the bishop being added to that, I think they saw that as a way of bringing some attention to the president of the Republic of Liberia, to be able to push our university up there and to get some of our accreditation across so easily. But come what
So,
may, I cannot think for the bishop, and I cannot say it's because of welfare. The position that the bishop is serving as board of trustee, president of the local university, I don't think that's a civil servant position where you will get extra benefit for serving that position. I don't think so. We got to look into that. Maybe
okay,
a
Elijah.
Big Joe got to. Maybe Big Joe got to come in and tell what the benefit associated with that.
Maybe BJ have to clarify and
Yeah,
say BJ want to pay
yeah,
really.
these are gonna come
You see
there and
what?
clarify the
You see what?
benefit associated with
You
that
see
one.
what?
But
You see
what I would
what?
say is that what I would say that the total as we are talking about the welfare of our pastors and the way our pastors are being treated, I think that alone lacks the motivation for people to even go into ministry into the LCL. So if you look at the church today, most of the rural parishes are occupied by ordained deacons and evangelists running those places because a BSC pastor does not want to go into the bush where he will not be paid or value to the standard of his education. So he got to find a place. And some pastors have blatantly refused to take assignment because they don't want to go to where they send them. So you have those A1
So,
pastors right now in the LCL as well. They don't want to take assignment
so
to
what is?
places like
We
you
got to
send
what
them.
is? We
So
got
Yeah.
to
the
what is?
LCL has a problem right now. So I learned that there's a conference coming up for the pension reform, and I think
Yeah, the
that
BS,
is,
the BS said that whether to get more clarity on that.
yeah, we wanted to get
The
more
BJ,
clarification on that.
the BA is trying to log in. You know, even if
So,
15 minutes we can still
so
receive
yeah.
him.
So,
Awesome.
Elijah, just hold on 1 second. Who you thought
Yeah,
that?
the BA is almost here. Maybe he
What is?
needs to enable his camera and he will join
Okay.
us. Yeah, the BA is almost here with us. So we just wait. Maybe he needs to go out and come back in. BA, if you are listening to us, please go out and come back in. You want to activate that camera. You don't have to turn it on, but just
If
activate
you
the
find it
camera.
difficult, they just call. They just call.
Yeah, I was going to respond to this Elijah, and I want to
No,
thank
but I just wish Reverend Thomas Jala, who is the BMT chairperson, the two pastors that he got in Festival and Zaza, if he could just disclose at least the minimum they are making
no
with the benefit
that,
associated with
No,
that.
that was the power that was the parity thing. But I want to appreciate
no.
Reverend Jala for the clarification again. I said I stand to be corrected. So
Elijah?
yeah,
No,
this is
what
what
is?
we
Mhm.
want.
No,
You
what
know,
is?
information when
What
clarification
is?
is when we assume. Go ahead, yeah.
What is?
Yeah.
Why waiting for the BA to call in? Can we just be recognizing our guests?
Okay, sure. We can recognize our guests. Brother Alasha Zina Momo. Thank you so much from Batnersville. M. Nathaniel Toba, following from Police Academy resident. I want to say thank you so much. Edwin George Warmer, Okay, he said happy birthday, Pastor. I think he is referring to Pastor Jenny's Gono. Happy birthday to you along with Pastor Doa. Uh Jeremiah Gavler. We want to say welcome. Thank you so much. Good day, Lutheran family. Um, no, always our pop is last, so we'll get back to him. We'll get back to
Jeremiah
him.
K. Floyd, then you get a female picture there.
My man, that
Well, they may want to they may want to show
my
you
man, that
well also.
that Jeremiah Gavler here, Jeremiah Gavler. Um, then
Look at the BA. The
Dixon,
BA is order.
yeah, yeah. Let's just
The
finish.
BA,
We're going to recognize a few more people.
yeah.
Dixon Williams, we want to say welcome. Our
Oh,
brother
that's
Sister Guya
enough.
was on the show. Brother Jerome Jala, the youth, anyway, we're going to talk about that. The youth camp is coming up. Thank you so much, Brother Jala, for watching. Brother Sister was on the line, and okay, that's Jeremiah again. So we want to jump here quickly. Brother Abasama, thank you for following. Big Joe, hey yo. I want to say thank you, Brother Edwin Flomo. Want to say thank you. Again, the Reverend Torbo Thomas Jala. We want to say again, thank you so much for following us. But we want to come and recognize our father, Reverend Manipule K. Small. He's always watching us from St. Louis City, Missouri. Again, want to say thank you. Thank you so much, Father Small. BA want to say welcome.
Thank
Yeah,
you.
yeah,
You
welcome.
always stick to your promise.
Yeah,
You are on
welcome.
your way from
Welcome, BA. I thought
yeah.
BA welcome. I thought probably I'm going to plead the fifth.
No.
I,
BA
I
always
thought I thought it
no
I thought it'd be a
no
big defense too.
Yeah.
no. The BA no that's a myth. There's BA. I mean, he was on his way from Banga and he told me that he would join us, even though he would be late. If the
With it.
BA said A, I will hold him to his word A.
Okay.
And I
Okay,
think he
with it.
All right, let's go
All
ahead.
right,
Let's
let's
go
go ahead
ahead.
with it. BA, welcome to the show. Last
Thank
week
you.
you came up briefly, but and then you came us on late to tour, and now we want to go a little bit deep. What was discussed last week come to the pastoral welfare and the pension. Which is a critical issue. When it comes to the well-being of the pastors,
Yeah.
especially Elijah, who was sort of a pastor. What you went through. We have other pastors that currently some of them ill today. You yourself say you are worried because if you retire, that means nothing there for you. No. So yeah. So can you just give an overview of the pension system in the LCL?
yeah.
Are you ready for just an overview? Then they will ask questions.
Uh, well, I must confess that I will not be able to satisfy this conversation in its totality.
Yeah.
Reason being that there are still some investigation and some analysis being undertaken by the current pension director together with the board to see the status of the pension as it is now. But I will give you some food for thought because when I came from the US, the first assignment I had after my studies was to be pension coordinator, a job which I confessed to the bishop then that and I was incapable of doing because my study at Wartburg was not in line with being pension administrator. Especially they wanted me to be uh, administrator stroke accountant. The work of an accountant, I am not schooled in that, and so I didn't want to. So when they told me first that you will be the pension administrator, I took that as a challenge. One because I was a pastor, and I thought that that would help me to strengthen and build up the pension. Um, and so I took up that challenge, and I think it was after 3 or 4 months later, I had to resign
And I will not tell you the reason why I resigned. Are you there?
Yeah, well, yeah,
We're listening to you, yeah.
yeah.
Okay. I resigned, and I had a reason for resigning, and I stated my reason in a letter to the late Bishop Harris and then the late Koba Wiki, who was the board chair of the pension. I resigned because I saw some troubles and which I said to myself, I cannot continue. And I brought it to them, and I think I did not get ears to listen to me at the time. Um, I didn't want any money being borrowed from the pension. Let me be frank with you.
Okay.
One request came before me, and I realized the amount was huge. I refused because one, I didn't know, I didn't understand the whole idea of being an accountant. I didn't want to approve anything. I said to them, if I did, the pastors will blame me tomorrow. And so they felt that having a master degree and refusing to do that meant that I didn't learn anything. I was not qualified, But my study at Wartburg was in church and community development. And so I didn't come as an accountant. That's one. We go a little farther. When I resigned, I took up work assignment in Totota against the wishes of Bishop Harry because he didn't want me to go there. Somebody coming with a master degree, then you have to go to Totota where they would not even pay you $1,000. So he told them, if you want Pastor Paye, you got to go talk to Pastor Paye. But I can't assign Pastor Paye there because you don't have the money to pay him. I went there for two reasons. One, it was my second assignment. Two, I wanted to put into practice some of the things I have learned in community organizing congregation for strengthening the life and work of the congregation. The result is the Octagon Church that you see there,
Into that, right?
the old, yeah, in Totota.
Yeah, okay.
There's an Octagon Church. That's the
Yeah,
church now that the bill.
yeah.
I would say one of the most beautiful church in the churches that we have here. But here is what happened. When I was in Totota, I realized that uh, the first thing that happened was there was money borrowed from the pension, a little over, it could be a little over a $250,000, over 300,000 for the Tower Hill project.
Librarian out of US out of BA.
United States, that when we talk about pension, we talk about USD.
All right. Wow.
And the Tower Hill project was supposed to be a sort of sustainability property to the pastor's pension. You will hear that a bit more the day Bishop gets to talk to you. But there was problem. The project was not completed. You go there, you see what it is. What it is now is broken down. In my own mind, the money was not adequately used. I say in my own mind, okay. But then something that I objected to, and a lot of people, including Pastor Doa, will bear me witness, and some of the pastors, including Bishop Padmo, may bear me witness. The school system went and borrowed $50,000 from the pension for uniform project. When I heard that, I went there into the meeting in the executive council, and I told them, do not approve this because uniform project has never worked in our country.
Yep.
The case in point was Mercytex and Oreo.
Yep.
Even Mother Telewater, Grandma Telewater,
Yep.
backed me and said, I worked for Oreo before. And Oreo broke down, Mercy Text broke down, because people will find uniform cheaper on the market and you'll be selling it. I say, do not invest the pastor's money into this project. The remaining story, you can find it out. That project didn't work. Some of the uniform they sold, it remained, they play ring on it, got rotten. Schools could not buy it. And today that $50,000 is still hanging on the school system. I registered my displeasure and my disagreement with them. Let's move fast forward. In 1999 to 2000, all people, everyone that were on the pension, their pension was refunded. They paid them. Bishop Harris did. They paid them because after the war, people were not contributing anymore. So they wanted to begin the pension all over and again. I think way back it used to be called Providence Fund, something like that. So by 1999, I am very sure if I don't make mistake, everyone that was on the pension will pay. Then by 2001, we started again. So all of us who were on the pension, the LCL paid for, I think, for 2000, 2001. And then we started from there. The churches were supposed to pick it up from there. So beginning 2001 onward, churches now begin responsible to pay the pension for their ministers, because the LCL have refunded people who were on the pension their money, and we all were starting over. So it beats my imagination that some people who were on the pension even from the 80s are still collecting money.
For the 80s, wow. So
I may be wrong, but I am
yeah,
saying what I know. There
yeah.
are people that may know better than I do,
So
but I know that.
Yeah, so we're having a conversation, we're becoming step by step. So when they re-establish the pension, so is that when the 60%, 40% came in?
Exactly.
All right.
Exactly.
Okay.
As far as my knowledge can serve me, people may have other information, but that's what I know.
Okay.
So from that time now, the churches begin to pay. The pastor will pay 40%, the church pay 60%.
Good.
And
That's the clarification I wanted. Okay.
Yeah.
That's the one.
No, I said that's the clarification that we wanted, because what I understood, and you just said it, that the pastor is contributing and the church, which is the parish, is contributing, right? Or the church, meaning the LC, is
The
contributing.
pastor out of his salary is supposed to contribute 40%.
Okay.
And the church is supposed
Meaning
to
the
pay
parish.
60%. The parish is supposed to pay 60%. But here is the trouble.
Okay.
There are places where pastors are assigned the salary they gave them. Take for instance, if you pay pastor $100, assuming now, because there are some pastors who can't even get $100, 40% of $100 is what? Just think about it. Then, if you would take that from the pastor's salary,
40% of $100, $40.
So yeah, so Paye, that do
yeah.
We'll come to you.
Let me just end this, and you come back.
If you
Let me end.
ask questions.
So the pension now were calculated on $250 USD. They say every pastor assigned supposed to make $250. That is the basis upon which the pension was calculated. You understand?
So,
hold on a second. Yeah, let the BA finish. They will come in with questions.
No, I think he stopped though.
You done?
Yeah, you wanted to say something. That's why I stopped.
No, just flow. Just finish what you finish.
Okay, all right. I just want a clarification on that, so I don't lose my thought on it.
Yeah. So when a pastor is employed, whether he's employed in a Zolowo and assigned, the pension, whether he makes the money or not, whether he's being paid 250 USD or not, his pension calculation is based on $250. You understand? So
Yeah.
out of that $250 you're giving him, his 40% of the pension, which the total should be like that 192. His 40% is coming from there, and then you the receiving parish pay the 60%. But there are pastors who are not even making that money, and where they assign them, they don't even pay them. They don't even pay their pension. Like I told you, I'm one of the victims, and
Yeah,
several other pastors. The only
I'm
people that are privileged to pay their pension are people who are employed with either a church institutions or perhaps the central office. Because in that place, if you work there, your pension is subtracted before your salary is given you. You understand?
right.
Yeah.
But those that are in the parishes, they don't have their pension. Most of them, they don't pay. Few churches will pay the pastor's pension. Few churches that I know, like St. Peter, I
I know
want to
someone like
believe
Matthew.
Andrew, St. Andrew,
St.
St. Matthew,
Matthew. Yeah.
yes, they will pay. Even Bannersville that I served for 6 years, my pension was not paid. You understand? The other aspect is that some of us went for studies. We spent like 2 years studying. Those 2 years, the question is who should pay? Is it the parish that we're serving or the LCL? That has not made clear. There are some people who went for study, like me. We came back. The year we spent in the US, the 2 years, our pension was not paid because we're not serving. Because when we left, they assigned somebody in our places.
Yeah.
So the
So,
church
yeah.
cannot pay pension for a pastor that is not serving them when they got
Right.
their pastor assigned already.
You know. So
That, I think
so
So
I think I have one
these
simple question. That's all. Yeah, go ahead.
so be it. Jack Rabbit or in 2 seconds.
these and many other
Yeah.
things
We'll ask question.
have
You
given rise to the current pension administrator and the board to say they want to have a conference on the pension to find out what is happening to the pension and the status of the pension. There are people who are working in the LCL office. They resigned, they took their severance benefit plus their pension and it was calculated, and some of those figures were very huge.
wow.
Very huge. Oh, yes, very huge. You would talk about some people taking 19,000, some people taking 11,000, 7,000, 5,000. Then when other people knew that other were resigning, they other joined it, they started resigning because they knew they were there. And for me, it's not fair because the pastors are suffering.
Yeah.
Let
So
me
be
stop
it.
it.
So be it. This is a bombshell information you are share with us. We come to the pension. We'll come to the part 2 of the discussion of the pastoral welfare. You know, but we don't want to focus on the pension right now, especially some of the information you have revealed to us. When you tell about the funny aspect, the challenges that you went through, which make you to resign, taking money. For me, I look at like transparency. They were not, maybe they don't want to say everything outside, but from my own personal feeling I had right now, maybe that's so transparent. Say to it,
No, I want to make this correction. The way it was taken, it was done in a transparent way because
yeah,
you put in
but
for the money. The money is approved by the board and to be borrowed with the intention of what? Replacing it.
yeah,
Where we had a problem is that you use it on a project and that project is not able to put the money back.
so that's the project field, you know.
Yeah.
But especially some of the amount that you list, is very huge. But I will ask, I will come to Elijah, then will it, or Elijah, we listen to the BA, you're an insider, so some of the information probably are new to you, you know. But what question you have for BA?
Yeah, thank you, BA, for showing up on the show. Actually, I thought you played the fifth, but glad that you showed up. Um, you may mention, like, I know I was in Liberia when I was executive council when you served as pension administrator for some time, and then later on you left that position. My question to you, from your explanation here, I have two questions. As a pastor serving on the pension, as a pension coordinator, after seeing all of the lapses within the system, and you did not make, I don't know whether you made recommendation for correction, or what are the steps that has been taken, or what recommendations did you make to correct some of the things that you saw within the pension scheme that made you resign and left the position. Secondly, I would like to understand from you. I was on the executive council when $250,000 was approved when the late Amos Cully was still alive, to invest into Tower Hill. And then the Tower Hill project was launched. Already we have structures on the Tower Hill, on Tower Hill. That's those structures, they've been rented out. We have occupants there, they are renting them. So I want to understand from you the funds generated, because the intent of the money that was taken from the pension fund, from the Chicago, in the Cheshire office, the ELCA head office where you got a pension account, that money was borrowed from there with the intention of making the pension fund revolving and sustainable. So I want to understand the current structures we have there. There have been money coming from that property coming to the LCL. What is that money being used for? Is that money going back into the LCL pension fund? Because we understand that the pension is being depleted because money not going back into it. So I would like to know what's happening to the money you're getting from the Tower Hill renter as we speak. And I also interested in understanding what are your recommendations when you were leaving the pension scheme as a pastor, knowing fully well that this is affecting you and you are leaving a position that you know that served in your interest, but you saw lapses and you resigned. What were your recommendations when you left?
Okay, I would like to correct some things first before I answer. One, you were here. If I may ask you, was the Tower Hill project completed?
Well, what I can
No.
say is that whether it was
Let,
completed, yes, the Tower Hill project, the money was
no, I
approved.
just wanted your answer because because the billing was substandard. Nobody would take why it was planted there, the way it was looking. I don't even want to describe it, but it stayed there and everything got deteriorated. It stole the commode, it stole the doors and everything. Do you understand? And so, um, if you say money is being generated uh, from the current property and where is it going, that question will be answered by the Lutheran Church in Nigeria at this convention sitting. I cannot answer that now because if I answer that, I may be making a mistake or I may be saying something different out of the way. The third question, whether not the third question, the second, which was the first, whether I made recommendation as an educated person, if I'm leaving any institution where I was assigned, I make my turnover notes and I make recommendations. So to answer your question, yes, I made recommendations. Even when I was leaving LTI in 2016, I made put in my turnover notes and I made recommendation for improvement. I point out what the challenges were, the opportunities we had, and I make a recommendation. One of the first things I recommended when I was leaving, I told them it was necessary to have a conference on the pension. The plan, those that are plan members, those that are contributing, those that are receiving, and in the church, we needed to sit down together with all parish heads. Let's decide a way forward on the pension. Because one of the ideas I had, and I thought that people had a misconception that the money that was sitting down at the city bank when you talk about 1.2, 1.3 million, it was a big money. And I said it may sound big, but as long as it is and going, if we're not putting back, it will be depleting. And I must admit the fact that this year, as I sit in the office, I have seen that people are making contribution. I think it's because of the education. That's one of the problems that we're having. People not making contribution. If we are making contribution on the pension, if pastors are making the contribution, paying the parishes are paying the 60%, pastor paying the 40%, that pension will grow. But if we are not paying and pensioners are getting their benefits, definitely you will not have money to put back.
So
That is the problem.
So Paye, let me just ask a question before I get to with it quick. So I want to understand so the 40 if the 40-60%. Let's assume that a pastor is also or somebody rural town like Bureau can salary cannot afford the 40%. But the central office is the central office actually putting the 60% if all the pastor cannot afford the 40%. Like for your case, with the Bannerville Parish, you get the 40%, but with the LCL central office making sure that your 60% and go in.
The central
I
the
think that
central
actually
office
you're getting it wrong.
are coming
The
up.
60%
No.
Let's
parish,
get this
not the
clear.
Under the
LCL.
parish, no, hold
The
on.
central office is not responsible to give the 60% of the
Which
pastors that are assigned in the rural parishes.
who's
It
supposed to
is
get 60%?
the parishes that are supposed to put that money there.
So let's assume that let's assume that they can afford, but how is it the check and balance? How does the check and balance process
If
work?
But if they cannot afford, if you say the parish cannot afford, then they shouldn't have a pastor. Because if the parish cannot afford, where would the central office get money from to pay the pastor's pension?
Dr. Toto, can I make a follow up on that 60/40 payment?
Yeah, let me give you 5 seconds and we'll get away with it because
Yeah.
we sleep all the time.
Yeah. Yeah, BA, I really want to understand from your perspective, BA, as it relates to the 60/40. Uh, During your term serving as the pension coordinator or administrator, and you realize that the salary disparity within the LCL is not even. You have pastors and deacons or deacons in rural parishes, and some of them are making the 1,500 out of Liberty, and the LCL sets a threshold of $250 USD that your pension is matched against. So I want to understand, how did you deal with that situation when you serve as administrator of that institution?
How did I deal with the salary disparity?
How did you address the leadership of the LCA about that?
No, but I think the question should be, how did the Lutheran Church in Liberia, through the Executive Council and the biannual convention, deal with it?
No, I want to
Definitely.
understand, Reverend. This is my question to you. I'm saying, from your perspective as the pastor of the LCL, the
Mm,
System 40 affects you as a pastor assigned in the parish. And now you,
yeah.
as a pastor, was placed in a position as the patient coordinator or administrator. So I want to know, what were some of the specific recommendation or corrective measures that came from you to the LCL, out of executive council or the convention, and say, hey, this is what I think we need to do in order to make our pension effective. So I just want it coming from a person who knows very well that this was affecting them and they were in that driver's seat, and what measure they took. That's the question.
I have told you that when I became pension coordinator, I realized my own shortcomings. for which I communicated with the bishop by then. And the way all I had was to resign because I could not do the work of an accountant. Before leaving, I made recommendation for improvement of the pension. The first recommendation I made was that uh, there should be a conference on the pension. The second thing we talked about there later, which the board picked up, was that before a parish call a pastor, you should have raised up to maybe a 2 years pension for that pastor before to come. That was in the discussion. Someone brought up, I think that was recommended by the BMTEA, and I think the BMTEA still hold on to that. That if you are sending, you are calling a pastor as a church, it means that you will have by then raised up to 2 years pension for the pastor. So when he gets there now, he will be working. The third thing that we together did was before a budget of the parish is approved, which Bishop Harry talked about. Even when Padmore was also a board chair, he talked about that before a parish budget is approved, the pastor pension must be a part. Because many times we approve budgets, the salary of the pastor is not emphasized.
Reverend, let me
Or
hold you
even
right there. Let me
Elijah,
hold you right there.
Elijah.
One
Yeah,
of that,
what happened?
just one
Yeah, hold on,
last
hold
follow
on.
up.
Elijah,
Just
yeah,
one last follow up.
Elijah, hold on 1 second. You keep talking, I'll put you in the back.
as an individual, I don't have
Yeah.
the power
Just
to
one
change what
last
you're talking
follow up I want to make with
Hold
about.
on.
with the
Hold on. Let
BA.
it be a, let it be if you didn't let it. Let it be if you didn't because
I just
so
wanted to make a follow up right where you were talking about the budget
Yeah,
issue.
but excuse me, Sina, you were here.
yeah.
Your father got affected.
Time is slipping. Hold on, here.
Your daddy got affected.
BA. BA.
Yeah.
Just 1 second. Let me take control of my show. Yeah. Hey, I will come back, Elijah. I will come back to you. Let me get with it. Yeah, let me get with it. Let me with it. With it. Do you have any question for the BA? Listen to what the BA explained so far.
yes, I do. I have questions.
Yeah, so your time with it.
Yeah, first of all, I want to appreciate Reverend P. I want to appreciate Reverend P for availing himself to come and provide clarification on this entire pastor welfare and pastor, pastoral pension scheme. And from the information provided by Reverend P, I see that he did the honorable thing because what he saw during his time as head of that pension board, he saw that things were not going right. He chose the best route to resign and provide recommendation. If the leadership accepts his recommendation and follow through, that's fine. If the leadership decide not to do so, well, it will be up to them, especially with George them. But Reverend Paye did the right thing. Okay, it sounds to me like Pontius Pilate when he said, "Okay, I wash my hand." That's what he did. He said, "You know what? I don't want this thing to be on me." He washed his hand and he left. Now,
He didn't
this
just
is
leave. I think that political. So don't point that part of the issue down there.
okay. Yeah, but
Yeah,
I'm just
point
trying
that
to
part
look.
point that part of wash your hair, but
Yeah.
you do
So,
hat.
but this is the thing, right? I know much more focus is being placed on the pension director, but again, I want to draw in the not bull, but the pastoral fellowship because this is resting on them. A vast majority of our pastors reside in the rural area. Our church is a rural church. Pastor P, you are a part of the pastoral fellowship. What are some of the um, policies? Okay, what are some of the policies that are designed from the pastoral fellowship level that says that okay, our pastors in the rural area, some of the salary scheme is not even. So if you live in this geographical area, there should be some consideration on you so that you be able to receive pension benefit, or if there's any, and what is it from the pastoral fellowship level?
What 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 I have been hearing, what I've been hearing from Bishop Padmore even before I began BA, one of his dream is that there should be a centralized salary system where everyone, no matter where you are assigned, will receive the same salary that will be approved. For example, if the $250 is something that is approved, if you assign someone to Zolowo or to Riverside or to Butuo, that 250 will be given to the person. In that way, people will not be fighting for big churches. The
Reverend
problem
Paye,
we have, I
Reverend
come
Paye,
in now.
okay.
I come in, I will answer your question.
Okay.
So some of the strategy he decided to put in was to see whether the building that we have and where you got the camp house and the warehouse could be transformed into a bigger hall specifically specifically dedicated to pastor welfare. That is the pension. The money that come from there go directly into a bank for the pastor welfare. That money will stay there and will be restricted from at a particular time when there is now an agreement by all parties that there will be a centralized salary system. Then all of the small money people will get for pastor salary, they will send it to the central office and it will be deposited. And then at the end of the month, the pastor will get salary. But here is the question. Will Lutherans agree to that? Will some pastors agree to that? Because there are some pastors who are making more salary, like $500, $300, $250,
Reverend
and
Paye,
other people receiving something like 1,000 LD.
Reverend Paye, sorry to interrupt. For me, right, saying that everybody will be paid across the board, I don't really see the reality because in the rural part, people the offering rates in those areas, okay, they don't really meet up to some of the parishes in the urban area. For example, the one of the biggest parishes in the LCL St. Matthew Lutheran Church, okay, St. Matthew Parish. But my question is towards the pastoral fellowship because this is affecting the pastors directly. What has the pastoral fellowship done in this life, or I mean, what are they doing? Then let me just add to the let me just give my second question and that's it. The 250. I just want to get a clarification on the 250. Is it that today Willie Cowboy is ordained as a deacon or ordained as an evangelist, ordained as a pastor? It said 250. I get it and call Elijah. I said, my man Elijah, my man, they say my pension, the base is 250. Elijah sent me 250, I put it 250. That's it? Or I should keep adding on to that 250. How is the scheme like? So that's
Every quarter,
okay.
I don't know the calculation very well, but the pension coordinator, Reverend Gainer, will be able to tell you. But by quarterly, that money is supposed to be paid.
Every 3 months, $250.
And no, the $250 is the base salary where the calculation of the pension is based upon. That means whether you're making it or not, when you're making 1,000 LD, the pension knows that you are making $250, and that's where your pension is supposed to come from.
Okay.
So how much is it? Is it monthly? Is it monthly or is it quarterly or is
Monthly,
it annual?
$250 monthly salary for any pastor. In fact, when you get BSc, I think is, let me tell you how the salary structure was. I think we still got it. When you are bachelor degree holder, or something like 250. If you are a master degree holder, it's around 350. And then if you got a doctorate, it's far beyond that. But here is the thing: how many people getting that?
Good. So
Even those who get master,
This is
some of them not
concerning,
even making
I would
150.
say the fact that this is concerning, and I will tell you that to find pastors coming in, to people coming in to volunteer and accept the call. I mean, they have to consider their family, survival as well. To be honest.
So I will come back to you.
Yeah.
We'll try to wrap things up.
Yeah.
Let me just get to part 2 of the discussion quick before one of the BA. Then we'll come and we'll start to wind down or close this email. For BA, the next after the also the pastor welfare. Some of your what the central office or doing because they have to provide the leadership. Some of your colleagues who because they are not affected rather because of sickness. The life of Reverend Pakara, Lady of Madawu, and all of that being sick. I know sometimes
Anthony Newman.
Anthony Newman also to those people, they serve the church. Those are your colleagues. What is the central office doing to cater to their welfare, to their well-being at this current
I
stage?
think you should go beyond that, Dr. Toto.
Yeah.
The question is what has been planned,
Yeah.
what has the LCL planned from the beginning? Because when you talk about pastor welfare, it doesn't start with Bishop Admo or Bishop
Definitely so.
Sayanko. It should start from the day Pink took office. That's the reason why the pension was initiated. And the only fair thing that can happen is that parishes should pay the pension of their pastors. They should pay it. So that no pastor will suffer when they're getting old or when they get sick. Parishes should pay. They should pay.
But Bishop, if they get sick, they are not attached with any parish again. So what the central office is doing?
I know of some pastors who got sick. They came to the office of the bishop to get money from their pension to go to hospital, and it was given to them. I can name 3, 4, 5, but that's their private issue. I can't talk about it.
Yeah, sure.
And that's why you put that money there, because it's a security. It's like social security. So if parishes are not paying, they are doing injustice to their pastors.
But how can that be? How can that be corrected?
That can only be corrected by the Lutheran Church in Liberia, and that's why they want the conference on the
immediately. To be honest, it should be done fast.
Dr. Can I come in?
Yeah, I can be larger. I can be before I be me as well. Or one last question, then we'll come.
We got 2 more minutes.
Yeah, we'll also be done here on your quick. So the conference or BA. Some time ago on the show, we propose a national Lutheran conference because there are so many issues, not just the pension issue.
And that will address the pension as well and welfare of the pastors.
To deal with, and they current it from that system from Bishop P. So you alluded to all those complications there. With a new breed of generation, we say, what? They have a national conference. That not be part of the annual or the annual conference, or a national conference to discuss the issue to create a pathway for the church.
You mean national conference on the pension or of the Lutheran Church?
The higher the whole Lutheran Church.
But you already have a national conference, Dr. Toto.
Where
the national conference is a biannual conference. It's a national conference of the.
It does not address all the issues that in there.
How?
So Paye, Reverend Paye. The idea that our brother Sisi proposed is that
gentlemen, let us not go to the national conference. I want us to talk about this issue. Let's forget about the national conference.
I think that was a question. What do you think about it? Okay, no problem.
So hold on. So okay, let me come to Elijah. Elijah will give you 2 minutes, and then what you want to say there. Come to wait that the bill give a closing statement.
The bishop give a closing statement.
Yeah, there are a few things I want to talk about with the BA. One of them is the issue of the pastors' welfare. I think the LCL failed the pastors, and the pastors themselves failed themselves because they failed to speak up. Our church has been politicized so much that pastors form cliques, form groups behind a specific bishop, and when the other person who is not in that clique speaks out, that person becomes the target. I got plenty of proof to that. I got plenty evidences to prove to that. If you want us to go into that, I can provide that to you. So the issue of pastors' welfare in the LCL is not a today's issue. All right, the pastors who are doing the foot soldier work for the LCL, They go to parishes, they walk from parishes, they travel from place to place, risk their lives. But the pastoral fellowship, what has been your plan for your own welfare presented to the LCL Executive Council or presented to the LCL Convention and say, we ordained deacons, we pastors, this is what we are going through on a daily activities, and this is SYZ recommendation that we are presenting to the LCL to resolve these issues. That's the reason why I listen to Pastor Paye keep talking about the budgetary issue of parishes raising 50% or 100% of pension before they hire a pastor. If you are relying on that to pay your pension will never get paid. That's the reason why parishes are not calling pastors now. They are taking evangelists and ordained deacons because they're not in the position to raise that kind of money. Because the LCL Central Administration, you set a threshold that is against $250 US when the parish who is calling this pastor San in Bella Gonjale does not pay the pastor $250 US, but you are asking this parish who cannot pay a $250 salary or even a $5,000 salary to pay against $250. How fair is that to that pastor who's going over there? And how fair is that to that parish for a pastor to be assigned it? So then look at the pros and the cons. Then look at the pros and the cons of this situation. So I think the LCL needs to go back to the drawing board. Look at your pension scheme. And I think the money coming from Tower Hill, that whatever money you borrow from Senate Bank, you need to start putting that money back there because you're not accounting for that money. Like,
Who is the you?
Elijah,
no, what I'm saying,
who the you?
no, when I say you, I'm talking to the LCL leadership. I'm not talking to a particular person.
No, don't say LCL leadership. Talk about the Lutheran Church in Liberia. We are responsible for that. We make that decision in conference, in the LCL conference.
Okay.
So when it is happening, we are responsible.
Yeah, granted, Reverend Paye. We made a decision, right?
We cannot say it was Bishop Harry. We cannot say it was Bishop Sayanglo. We cannot say Bishop Padmo. The Lutheran Church in Liberia conference made that decision.
No,
so that conference is responsible to make a decision on that.
Okay, Reverend Paye.
Let's don't have a dialogue.
That's my point. I'm saying the LCL made a decision. The LCL, the Executive Council, is the second highest decision-making body after convention. So if the Executive Council approve and say, let's borrow money from our pension fund and put it into Tower Hill, the money was wasted first. Like you say, in the structure there, they were all depleted. A second $250,000 was borrowed for revolving fund, went back into Tower Hill. Now you got project on Tower Hill. You got property on Tower Hill. Who's managing the money that comes from that project? The leadership of the LCL is managing that money. What I'm saying here is that money should be going.
Elijah, please, we have a call that please let us allow this person to speak.
Yeah,
please. Go ahead, please.
Try to take that dashi order because that way.
Yeah, go ahead, Bishop Padmo.
With the bishop of the law?
Yep.
Okay, we'll get a bishop a few minutes.
Yeah, go ahead, Bishop.
Like you.
We're doing fine, Bishop Padmo.
No,
I want to say, I'm listening to you people. I want to say one thing to Elijah. It's not a good thing to speak about what you don't know. Elijah claims he knows, and he don't know anything. I'm sorry for saying the word because the way he's saying this, he don't even know what he's talking about. You're talking about Tower Hill. Elijah was here. He was in the youth. He knows he led the youth. He went down there with past leadership. You know, when you're talking like that, you sound like people who are there right now are not doing the right thing. In the first place, if you don't know, here's some money to build our place. Did they ever generate money from there before this time to replace it? When did they start? When did they start getting money from Tower Hill? What's the management? Who wants to take Tower Hill? Was that even built properly? Hello, the next thing he said was, and I want to comment, he talks about the pension board will not have a way of saying that at least a parish must pay something towards the pension. Are you all there?
Yeah, we hear you. We hear you.
Yeah, so let's keep silent, let me talk.
Yeah.
What was happening was that parishes were not even paying the pastors, even in the pension, you talk about Conjari. Why are you going to work Conjari? You don't talk about Maria, St. Peter, you don't talk about St. Matthew, these churches had not been paying the pastors' pension. They want to still ordain deacons. Okay, you hold on. So the point is that so that a pastor don't be ordained and get into the pulpit or get on the deacon ordained, and they never have it. So if you want an ordained deacon, the way we want to encourage the parishes is to at least pay 2 years of the pastor or the deacon's pension, so that when that deacon gets there, he already has to start. Somebody who be a pastor for years did not get to pay, do not get a parish to pay 1 cent of our parish, our pension, until some people had died and they didn't even get pension. What do we do so that people don't come in the place and don't go with all being pension? You're talking about salary. You're talking about when you go where they call in the village, even in the city, we have said that at least not less than $200. How many city churches you know pay the pastor $200 US? The reality is that even the member, look, to sit down on the radio over there and just talk, it's not the thing. It's a reality on the ground. So we ourselves who are leaders, you talk about pastor welfare. I think my Lutheran Convention talk should be starting on racism, money to what's on this thing. Don't be projecting Tower Hill is there or the ready they want. But even the church we run as leaders of this church, there's nothing coming from anywhere, so we have to be managing around. From where do we get money to run this church? Parishes not even paying. You sell somebody 10,000 like brother, they're not even paying 10,000 like brother for a whole year. You ask them to pay 100 like brother per year, they're not able to pay one. So where do you all expect the leadership of this church to get money to run the church, to pay the pastor the money, to just talk because you want to talk is not the best thing. What we should start doing now is how are we supporting what we are dreaming? What are we making to make things work? All of you who got interested in pastor welfare, you got interested in digital welfare. What role are you playing? You're just creating awareness, opening people's mind, and making it, like I said, you make it look political and religious and applicable. I've been in church for more than 35 years. I know what I've been fighting. We talk about this year, we're all fasting. We're trying to manage to find a way out. My picture concern is the pastor's welfare right now. Because I've been pastor for that long. I had to fight to pay my own pension. Some places, parishes are not going to pay. Parishes are not. Remember, if I by the pastor talk about a pension in the parish, like all the mainland money business, Elijah, you know it. You are here. You work here. You work closely with parishes. You know that. Pastors are not even paid. You got pastors in places where they pay them $3,000 like $1. So we ask the parishes, they pay the person pension. Then they say, we ask them, we have to. Because if people going to retire, let me take 1 hour instance. Reverend Bonner working in Sarala, where your father was working, Elijah. And he was never able to be pension. Nobody paid his pension. The small money that the poor manager paid when he died, the pension program would say they had to calculate that $200-300 and give to his family. What happened after that? So we had to find a way to make a congregation not responsible to pay. You may say they're not able. You say they're not able. And we see the whole managing with them, they are managing. They are coming on. Let's stop making the thing hypothetical, making them more intentional, and then encouraging people to do what they're supposed to do. So their churches are supposed to be paid quota to the church. If I tell you how much arrears parishes who's supposed to be paying are not paying to run this church don't have one thing that you call any kind of income generating program. Tower Hill is not running. We just get Tower Hill to this rural company. Tower Hill is not running. LCL you don't got one cocoa or coffee farm or even banana farm. How do you run this church? You talk about welfare. What? The 2 little houses that really wasn't born in the region is what we managed to even pay more from and run the church. Nobody from nowhere send money to this church. The partner who sell our money is restricted, as you know, Elijah, and all people in the region. It's restricted. If you for a project, if you don't do it, there is a best managed. These are the senior leaders in the past have had.
Okay.
Should be doing now is All of us. So the projects and programs that will raise money for the church. You can't leave that to the leadership alone. Don't just create the alarm for people to see, but what are we doing? Like long before even you got on the radio, on our show, whether it's a witness, we've been talking about LPI. How many people have already made substantial contribution to LTI? Everybody believes that the money they're making, they can't give it to somebody because they will misuse it. You got to trust people. Nobody will want to see the thing happen. I say to you, Lutheran, and that my last word to you, you're not going to even hear good sermons. Well, how? Who supports sermons? Nobody. No pastor in the church will say, appreciate it, but people appreciate it. Nowhere. How do you expect it? We talk about pastor welfare now. So what is the welfare we're talking about? To talk about it and not happening. What are we contributing to the welfare of the pastor? They say we sit down with cats together. The pastor is the one responsible for it. The pastor is the one. Somebody working the place for years. You can't even get them $2. They say, you promise it, we'll give you $5 every month. It can't come to them. We gotta be willing to do something. Let's stop standing in the way we're standing in. Let's develop programs. I want to see people develop programs that raise money. And you ask me how you spend the money that we raise. You're not raising the money. Nobody raises money. When you get financial report, can we get financial report on the partners' money? Then we should be able to make that report to the partners. Because they won't give us the money. That's what we're not doing. Today, we're trying to do something. I have started planting almost 5 or 6, 10 acres of land with coffee. So tomorrow, what are we doing right now? This situation will remain. It will keep on just talking, and not really the chair will remain for the rest of the year. Because the way we talk in such a way that don't promote by a degree. The people can be responsible to care for their pastor. They must pay if they want to team minister. 80% of the ministers don't even have pension right now. Who's responsible for that? They go from private to private preaching. What are we doing to help them? The minute you talk about the salary and the pension, it becomes big noise in all the private cases. That's not contribution I want to make.
Yeah, take a Bishop. Take a Bishop for him.
And that I told her, before no, I think I'm being attacked on the show more than you guys.
How to build a line.
No, I just wanted to ask Bishop a question before he drops the line. All right.
I'm saying that. I'm not dropping the line.
Okay, Bishop. I know you said I'm not speaking the reality, and some of the things that I understand your point. You said I'm not speaking the reality, but some of the things that I may mention, and you just alluded to it, that the Tower Hill project is there. What you just explained about the LCL, or whether the money that was invested in the Tower Hill, whether the money was utilized, whether the money came out of there, is a fight that money was invested from the pension money that was invested in the Tower Hill. And I know that we have a property on Tower Hill that you're supposed to be getting money out of. So that's not a falsehood, that's a reality. So if that money that's coming out of Tower Hill, if another money was taken from somewhere else, that you are utilizing that money to help run the LCL, I think it is upon you as the bishop to come and say, yes, I agree that we took money to put in the Tower Hill, but we also put another money in the Tower Hill because the first money that went there, it was mismanaged, and now we put money in there. This is how we are using the money that's coming out of that property. But in order to say what we say is not the reality, I think you should be providing other explanation around this, because one here rent on my door telling me you don't know my name.
Hey, hold on.
You should not be inviting me that you don't even know me.
I don't correct. Tower Hill was built and stood over there from the whole time. I think they went by mismanaged money. That way. The only thing I know that happened when that Tower Hill, when you talk about money, was that at one upon a time, the pension program took some money. They said they were making uniform for school, and you were here, and was never. Tower Hill sat down for years. Nobody took it. Nobody took it.
Bishop, thank you so much for the clarity. We get the point you made. We'll try to find another time. The last Sunday, the Bishop Hour, we're going to bring the Bishop Hour back again with it. For Bishop to come back on the show again to give her more information.
I don't like the way you look at discuss the issue.
No, I think what we can do is that to say it's been a while. If Bishop is available, maybe we can bring him in a Sunday early.
Sunday. Bishop,
we can bring him a Sunday early. Then Can
you be our guest?
Bishop, could you please be our guest next Sunday?
I don't know what I would try.
Okay.
Yeah, we hope that. Yeah, we hope that you can
He
try.
want to clarify that. I told him he want to clarify something.
Let me say something to y'all. I like this show, right? What I'm not appreciating is that we should be discussing each.
I think Bishop fall off the line.
And one of the clarifications that I told her,
Hold
No,
on.
he's on the line. He's on the line.
I'm here. So I'm prepared to come there to talk to you and make some clarification. But let's stop making it like, okay, something happening wrong. And like I even listened to the last week for a program you had. And somehow talking about, Elijah talking about, every week the bishops will got every day to get clarity. Clarity on what? We're in a position that it's not even in our head. We sit down for a whole week, we see anything happen. That just become a big give you clarity. Sometimes, no. You don't wait till you get on the radio to make the points you're making. I'm here as a bishop. You want some clarity, you want to discuss? Call me. I can be on the radio all the time. It does not work fine that everybody that me on the radio, but sometimes you call me, Bishop, how is this single? Then when you get on the radio, you say, oh, according to what we heard. So, but I can because we are in a process where it's not in our hand. So somebody see you discuss, sometimes talk to us. You don't do it like you're selling us on the public. Don't do like that. When you do that, when you treat people that, they will kick back. That's what happened. Tower Hill is there. If I want to tell you some things about Tower Hill, we got some money from Tower Hill. We are even trying to open a special account for pastors so that if we raise good money, we can start paying all pastors from the central. And that's why I'm even fighting in the restructuring on this compound to have a special structure that will raise money for pastors so that we'll be able to pay them. We don't have that. Nobody got anything anywhere. I'm struggling right now as a bishop to reassign pastors because the places they want to go, they don't have money there to pay them. Because we don't have a central pay system. I've been talking about that over the last 20 years. Now I'm trying to effect no support. We can't continue just talk. We just are doing something. I want us to do something. You all over there raise some money, say that put into a project that will help raise money for the pastor. Then you ask us who will be there, why are they with our money? Yeah. That's what I do want us to be doing.
Yeah, thank you, Bishop.
Thank you so much, Bishop. Thank you.
Thank you, Bishop. The Bishop said it all. We all have an obligation. One thing we want to make it clear, this network. If we bring an issue to discuss without discussing the issue to create a bad publicity to the bottom of the church, we discuss issue to showcase the church not in a negative way, but to discuss about the issue so we can be able to correct it. So we all can contribute towards it and make it look good for every one of us. That's the reason I bring the topic to discuss the issue. But it's not to bad about the church or to be more negative about the church. These are positive discussion. This discussion, it will shape the future of the church. Very positive, it's not negative. That's why we discuss the issue. This is a platform, this is a network. We're not here to buy more with LCL. We discuss the issue with the pastor welfare, because of the pension. That when some of us will sit, when we see how the pension with it, to see how the pension system work, to do an overview of the pension system, to see the pastor welfare. Mind you, other people go to the podcast, they're going to say, oh, you know what? Let me put my money there. Let me help the process. That's what bring the issue. That's why we come up to discuss this issue. But it's not to buy more of the church. And also some of the pastors are sick. Somebody will say, oh, okay, so the pastor is sick. Let me send some dollar to help that pastor for their medical. Because the church cannot be afford to help some of the medical bill. Other people come and do it. Ali had done that also too. We have to provide some medical assistance to some of our pastors, some of them that run, Pastor Cassidy, may so rest in peace, and other pastors. We did that. So when we discuss this issue, we are looking at critically. We're not discussing it from a negative perspective. We are discussing from a positive perspective. And the point Elijah was raising, I don't think it is to be negative on my part. He wouldn't say that if the Tower Hill money was used for a specific project, if money still coming in, why can't that money just go back to where it came from?
Yeah. Yep.
That's the last. Yep. That's all he's saying.
Yeah.
That's all he's saying. So it's not like we want to be negative. We want to be positive. We want to see the growth of the church. We love our church. Some of us, we don't know another church. We were born in the Lutheran church. Our parents born in the Lutheran church. They're no longer around. And we're in the church. Our children also in the church also too. I don't know no other church apart from the Lutheran church in Nigeria. If you have the diaspora, yeah, I mean Lutheran church also too again.
Yep. Yep.
So the
Let me
church,
just say
the
something
church,
here.
I'll come to Elijah. I'll come to Elijah. So this discussion have objective. We want to achieve positive outcome of the church. That's why we discuss the issue. That we're not discussing from a negative perspective.
Yeah.
So talk about fast spell. We'll just go around the room or the either year to give a closing statement. Maybe from that issue you fall off. But we'll just go around the room for a few seconds, we'll just give our closing statement and then we call it a deal. So we'll start with Elijah first. You can add your clarity and your closing statement or either one.
One thing I like to make clear here is that when we come on the show to discuss issues, we speak towards issues that are affecting people within the church, and we recommend possible ways to solve the problem. Manucho Connection Show is not a fundraising arm of the LCL. We have other platforms. We got different programs that we've initiated and raised money for the LCL. And money we've through other programs, money going to the LCL. We've through our effort, money has gone to the LCL to support different initiatives. So when we talk about issue affecting pastors, and we speak the fight surrounding them because we have some first-hand experience with it. And I want to speak specifically to the lady called Harrietta Mantle. I don't even know her, but I don't know whether she knows me even. Because I have served as a leader in the Lutheran Church in Liberia, represented the entire West African regional expression of the Lutheran Church, representing Africa at the higher level at the Lutheran World Federation, representing the Lutheran Church in America, in Liberia and Lutheran churches in Africa. So I have some information that some of you don't know, that you don't know, and you don't have experience of it. So when I speak in, I speak from a position that I know something. If there's a clarification around, like the bishop came and said, they gave the place out to somebody. I was just saying, we borrow money from the pension money, and we said the pension money is being depleted. The money we borrowed there, what happened to that money? We know we got property on Tower Hill. Is that money going back there? I expected the bishop to come and say, you know what? I know we took money from that place, but this is the current situation. That's transparency. But to just say, oh, Zina is not saying the reality, I'm not indicting the bishop of mismanaging any money here. I'm not indicting anybody. I'm just saying what I know. And if people expect that we'll come on the show and not say the things that we know or things that are affecting people within the LCL, then there's no need to have the conversation here. Or if we will come on the show to just raise money and send it to LCL because we know that there's hardship. We know there's hardship in the country. We know there are a lot of institutional breakdowns, partisan breakdowns, and other things within the LCL that are affecting the whole system, the country as a whole. You don't have, even the government Liberia don't have a good pension system for a government retiree. This to talk about the Lutheran Church in Liberia. So we are speaking about some of these things so that you can start working on policy that will speak to present day reality. If he's talking about 60-40, that 60-40 or the 250 should be based on reality. It shouldn't be something based out of the blue sky. It should be something that meets the threshold of everybody. So those are some of the things we are talking about. So if we are raising awareness around these things and people think that it's not right to say it the way we're saying it, I don't know what better way I can say it when I already know exactly what are some of these things. I already know some of these things that are happening around our country and that of the even the LCA as a whole. So we speak about these things because we know the information, we got the experience, we live it, we know it. So I'm not Pastor Paye, Bishop Patmo, all those people, they are all my pastors. I consider them my father. So there's no way I would sit on the show and disrespect any of them. But I become hard on some of these things because I don't want it to happen to even Bishop Patmo. I don't want it to happen to Reverend Paye or any other pastor within the LCO because my father was affected by it. If I were not in America to step in to help my father was buried for 2 weeks, laying out in house in a dark room. When I sent my sister and found my father lying in that room, not a single LCL pastor visited that place to know whether my father was buried there. They don't even know how my father went to Pakata. So we went through a lot of things. So you work for an institution that does not look after your welfare. So when we say that we're talking about some of the things, somebody say, you don't even know anything about the church, you want to talk about it. No, we have first-hand experience of it. And that's the way I speak, the way I speak. But
Okay, Elijah.
But that's
Yeah,
true.
no,
That's
that's
true,
okay.
Elijah.
That's okay, Elijah. That's okay. Don't get too personal. People will get they'll say what they want to say on this thing. You know, wait before you get it closer, before you come in or close even take off. Let me look at the ABL Commission report.
Yeah,
So that report they say going to be made the public. What will let that
we need to contact Abel.
work,
Yeah,
the work have been done and it
yeah,
can go to directors
the board. Yeah,
of the Lutheran University. And what happened up to that report? What's the resolution, the recommendation of that report? We want to know, and the public know, and the Lutheran family know, because
yeah. We need to hold because Abel
if
came here and
that,
made it and said it's
if
going to be
that,
public.
if that, another protest will break out again, what are they going to do about it? A protest broke out from the Lutheran University. You know, so that's the reason why when we discuss this issue, we just want to reveal information out. It's not at being from a negative perspective. We saw the protest from a young university with all how it went so wild in our Lutheran community about that protest. So a commission was set up to do an investigation and come up with a report. And that commission report is better out to the board. So we want to see if I want to see a copy of that report, we can share with us, you know, or let them know why in that report. That'll be good. But with it,
Yeah,
a lot of
uh,
good information we're giving to us here tonight.
yeah. Lot of good information.
I think for
Yeah,
me, I have learned. I learned a
totally
lot
sure.
when it comes to
Absolutely.
the welfare and the pension in the church. And we all have to do more too. But Elijah said this platform is our fundraising arm. So we just give the information out to people to reach out. There are sources where people can go and seek. They want to raise money to help in the institution and like Aliyah, other people, they are there. But we have to give the information out in a very positive way.
Yeah.
So thank you.
Yeah, Dr. Tutu, and also I just want to mention that you also Reverend P. I think he dropped off due to connectivity issue, but he called in and he's on the phone, so we're gonna have him give our benediction to us.
Okay.
Yeah, so I want to join you that I believe that you know some of the concerns that are raised on this platform are to create awareness. We just want to create the awareness. Like Elijah said, we don't want this to happen to Bishop Patmo from now. We don't want this to happen to even Reverend Thomas Jala or even Reverend Jennings Gono. Okay, Reverend McKay. We don't want this, to happen going further. We don't want this to happen to our pastors. Okay, because they've sacrificed. These pastors, I tell you that at night, rain, sunshine, they are there for us. Okay, we go to our pastors and they get up late night. They will be up for us. Okay, and I can tell you, the late Reverend Tanu Kesali. Okay, Reverend Tanu Kesali stood for the LCL. Today, his wife and family, the rest of his family, not only not only in Kakata, but also in Zozo. They are there in Kakata. What's the care also being shown to them? All right. I don't want to I don't want to put this on current administration, past administration, and other part. It's the LCL problem. That's what Elijah said. It's an LCL problem. It's systemic. We need to change this. We need to change these things. Sorry that the current administration is hearing this now, but we I mean, if this had been administration back then, the late Bishop Small Harry administration also, we are going to still speak these issues. But it happens that this administration is a time of technology, and we are using these opportunities to these platforms to share, to shine a light on some of the issues in the church. So I think our brother Elijah is coming from a point of positive heart for our church. Not I don't think he's been negative. I mean, I know some of the questions can be hard, and this happen everywhere on news outlets. Some people will be solving, some people will ask those fire burning questions. Okay, so let us all accept this in good faith. I want to conclude on this, that the pastoral fellowship, I hold you responsible on most of the things that are happening. And I know all pastors are part of pastoral fellowship. So when I say pastoral fellowship, you all are involved. The pastoral fellowship, I hold you responsible. Even the honorary program that we're talking about, the recognition program per se, the pastoral fellowship try to enforce. They say, listen, we want this to happen for our pastors. We want this, we want this. If you don't ask, you don't get. If you don't ask, you don't get. If we just sit down and be very quiet and say, okay, we've called Pastor Jomani Wiki on so many occasions, even Reverend Paye made an arrangement of being in touch with Reverend Jomani Wiki even when I was in Liberia. We met with Jomani Wiki when we went to Banga. He said, oh, this is the Mandatory Connection man. Until now, we have not heard from the pastoral fellowship. We're not shining the light on things. So, I mean, that's so much that we can do. We can create the awareness. We can shine light on issues. But again, the person who wears the shoes know how it fits them.
Definitely.
So, I mean, that's just the point I want to make tonight.
Yeah, be on the line. So we can
Yeah,
put it.
the BA is on the line. Give me 1 second. I think I have to go back to my screen and get him up here. 1 second, BA. Okay, yeah, he's here now. He's here.
Yeah, I'd like to say a few things and then we can close. I'm sorry that the internet dropped here and I can't get myself in. But I'd like to say this, that in the midst of all of these things here, all that the pastors have went through, God has been there with us. There are some actions and projects that the pastoral fellowship is undertaking. I can say that today we say it. One of the things I should also mention is that God was so gracious and some of the pastors' children got educated through the Lutheran Church. Some of them got opportunity through the Lutheran Church. Example is Zina who talking there. It's because he was a pastor's son and being a member of the youth that he got an opportunity today. Many other, like Conan, Harris, they all in the US. There are many other people. I think when the church gave us life, we should give back life to the church. We all know things have changed. The Lutheran Church is experiencing hardship because the members are also experiencing it. This pension thing is not today thing. Why it is true that the people in the villages cannot afford, there are some people out there who can even take that 40% and say, let me sponsor the other pastor this year.
Yeah.
And pay the 40%. We can do that.
Yeah.
So some of the things we should be doing on the Lutheran Connection is to ask people who got the passion to help some pastors that are destitute into the interior. Take a $40 or $60. It's $192 a year. $192 a year. You pay it. We should be into this. The second thing the last thing I want to mention is that I can assure you that everything is being done to ensure that those who are on the pension, those who are benefiting, those who are contributing will come together and decide the way forward of the pension after they shall have gotten the report of the pension, the status of the pension. It's not that nobody wants to do anything. Finally, I want to tell you that not everything you hear from Liberia is true regarding the Lutheran Church in Liberia. Some of the information are faulty. So the best way to get it is to find out. Like I've told many people, I said in the office of the bishop, if you have information and you come to see the bishop, you have the right to go to the bishop. That door is open now. You can go, you discuss with him. Right now, we are in the business of building bridges, not to push people away. And I want to thank God I was a part of this today. And though I didn't say much, I wanted to say because of what happened.
We're gonna call you back, Bishop Reverend. We're gonna call you back.
Let's keep talking. Let's keep talking, and let's keep building bridges. Let's find out those pastors that need help. Let's help them.
Definitely so.
What I have to say.
Yeah, please give our benediction.
Before or the big benediction or BA, those pastors that you know that need help, especially in terms of the pension support. Can you get the name of that? Can you get the name of the pastor for us?
Yes, we can get it. Give it to you.
Yeah, please do that for me.
Yeah.
Yeah. Thank you so much.
Yeah.
Thank you. We see how we can raise the awareness towards that and see assist.
Yeah. Receive the benediction.
Amen.
The Lord bless you and keep you.
Amen.
The Lord make his face shine upon you and be gracious unto you.
Amen.
The Lord lift up his countenance upon you and give you his peace. In the name of the Father and of the Son and of the Holy Spirit.
Amen. Amen.